will get a prize. Winnipeg over the Blackhawks 5-3. Northwestern topped Nebraska in Big Ten hoops 73-61. The news is a service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast. If you swipe your card, you leave a trail of digital information thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? Their U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to LifeLock.com now. Promo code RISK. Save 10%. 5:38, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher has a message for a Trump critic.
I don't see the president-elect as a legitimate president.
Georgia Congressman John Lewis, I say this with all the respect in my heart that I have for his life and his legacy and his sacrifices. You don't get a pass, Congressman Lewis, and you're going to kick Donald Trump in the shins, he's going to kick you back.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
You've been there, or maybe you're there right now. So many uncertainties making you feel lost and insecure about the future. There's so many what-ifs that pop into your head on a regular basis. Your concerns are real. One day, you or your family may need long-term care or disability help. Unfortunate events can happen with your business or home. And of course, there's dealing with all the changing rules and regulations of healthcare. It's a lot of weight to carry around. For peace of mind and security, knowing you're ready for anything, contact independent insurance agent Eddie Grisco of the Grisco Group. As an independent insurance agent, Eddie Grisco offers more choices, less hassle, and exactly the right amount of protection for you or your business. He's your own personal advocate that can help you navigate all of the overwhelming insurance choices so you can get back to living and not worrying. Contact Eddie Grisco of the Grisco Group, a full-service insurance agent selling all types and lines of insurance. You can reach Eddie at 815-836-8233. 815-836-8233.
With beaches, theme parks, nightlife, and more, head to Florida for your best winter ever. Plan your vacation at visitflorida.com.
It's tax season. Are you prepared? Do you need help? Corporate and personal tax deadlines are approaching fast. It's time to call Timothy C. Wolf, CPA, an expert in tax preparation, IRS representation, and payroll filings. Tim is knowledgeable about current tax legislation and how to maximize your deductions. He'll have your tax return electronically filed, and any refund will be direct deposited to your account. Don't miss quarterly tax deadlines. Don't wait to the last minute to file. Trust your taxes with an experienced professional. Let Timothy C. Wolf, CPA, plan and prep your corporate and personal taxes now. Call anytime for a free review of your past 3 business or personal tax returns. 847-818-0400. 847-818-0400. Make an appointment today and receive 20% off your first-time 2016 tax preparation. Timothy C. Wolf, CPA. Find him at afreetaxreview.com. afreetaxreview.com.
Let's get an update on our roads. In our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, the latest on York Road and all the news this morning with Jim Talamonte.
Like in Elmhurst, northbound York has reopened now between North Avenue and Fremont. After yesterday's bridal shop fire, southbound York is still closed and is expected to be closed for some time. No delays to report on the Edens to Kennedy. Down Eisenhower at Manheim, the on-ramp is reopened after a car fire. Down Stevenson, delays are from Weber to before Lamont Road after a crash. State to Lakeshore Drive, 42 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Ryan, 18 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic service of Staples. Resolved to get organized this year. Staples has low prices on everything your business needs to be organized this year, like bankers, boxes, file folders, and storage bins. Go to staples.com/coupons for your 20% off select supplies coupon. Ends 129. Restrictions may apply. Staples, make more happen. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Cloudy, breezy, 31 today. Cloudy, breezy, 24 overnight. More flurries tomorrow, 27 at O'Hare. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Fly By Night with Ken Severa. Heard Saturday evenings at midnight here on AM 560, The Answer.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Turning stateside,
We got some problems in Illinois. I don't know if you've heard. Governor Rauner outlined some of them in the State of the State address he gave on Wednesday. And in response to the State of the State address, where Governor Rauner struck an optimistic tone, where he called for bipartisan compromise and people talking to one another. Talking, no G.
Yeah, talking. So, when did he start dropping the G?
He's been doing that for a while. And
because I don't remember him doing that on the campaign trail.
He did.
He did?
Yeah. It's kind of like it goes with the Carhartt jacket. It's, kind of regular guy. And he actually is a regular guy.
He is, yep.
He really is. He's very, accessible and...
he's down to earth. He drives a Harley. Come on.
But, I mean, that's not an affectation. He really does. And he does, walk around in jeans and a collared shirt, and he's a relaxed kind of guy. That's true. But when you engage in these ridiculous affectations that I don't think he picked up at Dartmouth, it cuts against the fact that you're actually an authentically regular guy. It's unnecessary. You can speak the Queen's English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But he really wants term limits, and he really wants, map redistricting. That's what he's pushing.
And Attorney General Lisa Madigan, Daddy's little girl.
No, you stop it.
She's all grown up now. Look at her.
She's so cute. I love her.
She and her five-head announced yesterday.
Her five-head?
Yeah. She doesn't have, that forehead is so big, it's a five-head.
Oh, my God. Will you stop it? I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's a little catty.
Isn't it?
Was she wearing blue gloves and silver shoes?
I'm a nasty woman.
I have a T-shirt for you, though.
Oh, thank you. I hope it's sequined or bedazzled in some manner. So she is going to pretend that she's a lawyer today. And she filed court papers seeking to stop Illinois state workers from being paid by the end of February unless Rauner and the Illinois General Assembly approve a spending plan. I love that description, too. Unless they approve a spending plan, not a budget, and certainly not a constitutionally balanced budget, because we haven't done one of those since 2001, and Lisa Madigan has been fine with that. Oh, she, by the way, has been in that office since 2003. So over the last 12 years of unconstitutionally unbalanced budgets, if budgets at all, the last two, Lisa Madigan, indifferent. Of course, most, 4/5 of those years were Democrat governors. But now she's trying to squeeze Rauner. She sees, and the Democrats see, some wavering. They see Senate Superminority Leader Beaker from The Muppet Show.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't Christine Radogno look like Beaker? I'm an equal opportunity nasty woman. I did a Democrat, I did a Republican.
Beaker.
Because do we have a Beaker? So she, because she is negotiating the terms of surrender on tax increases and the further decimation of Illinois' economy, and Rauner has taken a hands-off approach to let it play out in the Senate so far, although I understand privately, number one, Christine Radogno is freelancing. Number two, the governor's office less than ecstatic about that freelancing. So I wouldn't necessarily take his hands-off approach at this juncture as any tacit support for what Christine Radogno is trying to do in surrendering to Senate President John Cullerton and Chicago Democrats. That is not coming with the stamp of approval of the governor, just so you know, a little bit of backstory there. But because there seems to be dissension in the ranks on the Republican side, what do Democrats try and do? Seize on the opportunity to squeeze the Republicans, maybe push Rauner over the edge. That's their thinking, I suppose, and get him to agree to massive tax increases and a continuation of spending money we don't have and incurring obligations we can't finance in perpetuity, and getting nothing in terms of structural reform in exchange, and setting the Democrats up nicely for the 2018 election cycle, starting with whoever their gubernatorial candidate. That's what this is. But I just want to make one more point. I'll take your calls on this. If you're supportive of the idea of stopping state workers from being paid if there is no agreement on a constitutionally balanced budget. That's my caveat, not Lisa Madigan's. One more point on this, though. This is really an instructive move, isn't it? Because what you see happening is Lisa Madigan playing politics with the Attorney General's office, not surprising,
trying to rally to the defense of her Democrat father and his roll call votes in the House, and her Democrat godfather and his roll call votes in the Senate. And
is John Cullerton her godfather?
he's the godfather of one of Madigan's
kids.
children.
Oh, yeah. She's
maybe Andrew and not Lisa. I can't recall. But I mean, anyway, it's all.
It's all. Well, do you think that
That's
she's
all part of
doing
one
this
crime family?
Is she doing this on behalf of them?
She's doing this on behalf of herself, and
Well, did they
furtherance.
convince her to do it?
Well,
though?
in furtherance of her interests, right? I mean, she doesn't. She just sits in that office and pretends to be an attorney and pretends to be an attorney general. She doesn't do anything. She's focused. She's like the mattress police. She doesn't do anything on corruption. She doesn't do anything on corruption. She doesn't do anything on any other material area. She just sits there and piles on when something is already, moved well down the road. Countrywide after the housing bubble when they were being targeted by everyone. Then Lisa Madigan runs to jump on the pile. That's how she behaves. She's not a leader. She's barely even a lawyer. But she is our attorney general because that's Illinois. But here's the thing that's instructive about what she's doing. She is using state workers. Hello? Are you listening? Members of AFSCME, members of the other public sector unions that work in state government, rank and file state workers, generally speaking. Hello? Wake up. Are you listening? You're being used by the Attorney General of the state, and your compensation is being used for work performed or to be performed as political fodder to squeeze the governor so Democrats get what they want. They are willing to sacrifice your interests for their interests, their political interests, meaning their power interests. Well, I mean, I know this shouldn't be a revelation, but I think it is for a lot of people. That's what they think of you. Rank and file Illinois state worker. That's what Lisa Madigan and the Chicago Democrat power structure actually think of you, how actually interested they are in your economic future. Teachable moment for you. Learn something.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560. The Answer.
Your company's critical projects involve improving processes, evolving business models, launching products, and realizing strategic imperatives. Integrated Project Management's core competency is execution, using process, leadership, and discipline to assure successful, sustainable results. Since 1988, IPM has led nearly 4,000 initiatives alongside our clients in a structured, engaging, and respectful manner. IPM's 7 nationwide offices employ consultants who excel at providing project management consulting to America's most successful firms. Their outstanding leaders transform strategy into reality, providing clients with a competitive advantage. IPM has been recognized as a top small and medium workplace and great workplace in consulting and professional services by Fortune magazine and one of the 25 best small companies by Forbes magazine. When your company needs help executing critical projects, visit IPMCinc.com or call Integrated Project Management's Chicago office at 630-789-8600. That's IPMCinc.com. Nothing matters if you can't execute.
Text from 773. How do you know nominating petitions are coming out soon? Lisa Madigan is making noise again. Yeah, that is kind of the swallows to Capistrano. Good text. The website, upstream-ideas.com, provides premium content to complement what we do here on this show. Long-form interviews with policy leaders and opinion makers like this week in our Against the Current series, Mark Lennon from wirepoints.com. He answers the question, can Illinois get out of its problems other than with the federal government rewriting the bankruptcy code to provide the opportunity for a state like, say, Illinois, to go bankrupt and reorganize its obligations? Very interesting discussion with Mark Lennon. Podcast of Illinois Rising, our program that covers Illinois policy and politics. We'll break down the governor's State of the State address as well as the proposed budget deal that Senate Republicans and Democrats are trying to negotiate and the implications for your business and your household income. We've got Follow the Logic segments, Man on the Street interviews, 60-second commentaries. Go to upstream-ideas.com and sign up today.
It's a great American story. The company started with just 2 cars, operating out of a spare room in a house in the western suburbs. With hard work and making every customer important, 47 years later, A1 Airport Limousine is one of the largest transportation companies in America. Wouldn't you or your company like to do business with a company that shares your American values? Try A1 right now and say, "Give me 10." Get 10% off your first trip. Individuals, groups, airport runs, companies, any transportation need, small or large, A1 is the A1 choice. They're reliable, professional, and on time. Call now and say, "Give me 10." 10% off your first ride. 630-833-3788. 630-833-3788. Or book online and ask for the 10% discount at a1limousine.com. Give your business to a business that shares your values. A1 is the A1 transportation choice.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. According to creditcard.com, American consumers are carrying the same level of credit card debt as they did in 2008 before the market collapsed, which is very scary. Credit card holders in Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, and Michigan are carrying over $33,000 worth of debt on their credit cards. This equates to a monthly payment of around $1,320, which is the equivalent to the payment on a $250,000 mortgage. The good news is home values have rebounded, and now is an excellent time to call me at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pay off your credit card debt and lower your monthly payments. It's easy. I've helped thousands of AM560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage License 4358, and MLS 19186.
Between my cats and my dogs, I never know what stains I'm going to find on my furniture and carpets. I've tried everything to get rid of pet stains. Sometimes the stains seem to go away for a day or two, but then they come right back. Well, after trying everything, I found something that works. Genesis 950. Genesis 950 is an all-purpose cleaner that I can use to finally remove pet stains for good. I can even use it in my carpet cleaning machine, which is great for getting rid of pet odors as well as the stains. Thanks to Genesis 950, I can have people over without being embarrassed by pet stains or the house smelling like animals. I also don't have to worry about exposing my pets to dangerous chemicals. Genesis 950 is green, so it's safe for my pets and my family. But it's not.
Leads are costing me a fortune every month in damaged or missing inventory. I'm not sure how to solve this problem or who to turn to.
Alarm Detection Systems installs video cameras that watch over your place of business, reduce loss, and increase profits with advanced security. ADS is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Visit adsalarm.com or call 630-844-6300. Alarm license number 127000143.
I can't get the alarm company on the phone to save my life. My alarm's going off all the time, and I don't know why. It's driving me crazy.
Call Alarm Detection Systems. We have live reps answering our phones 24/7, 365. No auto attendant. Call 630-844-6300. Get better customer service in return. Alarm Detection Systems is an authorized Honeywell equipment dealer. Visit adsalarm.com. Alarm license number 127000143.
5:57. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. And Elmhurst southbound York Road remains closed. Fremont to North Avenue after yesterday's fire at a bridal shop. Northbound York has reopened, though the right lane is closed. Inbound Eisenhower delays start at Manheim, 31 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop. Outbound 5 at 29. Edens and the Kennedy are okay. And Stevenson, 42 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Bryan, 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. Totally still clear. Traffic service of Office Depot Office Max. For a limited time, at Office Depot Office Max, save 20% on office supplies. Visit OfficeDepot.com/radio to get your 20% off coupon. Office Depot Office Max. Gear up for great. Ends 128, excludes technology, toner, and ink. See coupon for other restrictions. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues after Fox News. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Michael Stack.
Breezy with cloudy skies today, high 31. Breezy this evening with mostly cloudy skies tonight, low 24. A big cloudy Saturday, high 31. Cloudy skies on your Sunday with a couple snow showers, high 29. A bit of snow late Monday, high 29. I'm Michael Stack on AM 560, The Answer.
27 degrees at 5:58. Here are the stories that we're following this hour on AM 560, The Answer. Representative Robin Kelly inviting President Donald Trump to visit Chicago. The congresswoman, who serves parts of the South Side, has extended the invitation. Authorities are trying to figure out what caused a fire that destroyed a bridal shop in Elmhurst. Officials say the blaze began yesterday in a building on North York Street, just south of the 290 extension, housing VIP occasions. Illinois Attorney General Lisa Madigan seeking to stop state worker pay until legislators and Governor Bruce Rauner hammer out a spending plan. The motion filed by Madigan in St. Clair County Court seeks to dissolve a preliminary injunction which allowed state workers to be paid during the budget impasse. Chicago sports, Winnipeg beat the Blackhawks 5-3. College hoops in the Big Ten. Northwestern continues their winning ways. They beat Nebraska 73-61. The news, a service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast? If you swipe your card, you leave a trail of digital information thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? The U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. 27 degrees at O'Hare. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. President Trump will go to the Pentagon today. The fight against ISIS a key issue.
We are fighting sneaky rats right now that are sick and demented, and we're going to win.
The president also tells Fox's Sean Hannity we can't take any chances letting more refugees in from countries like Syria. An upcoming executive order will restrict that.
FBI agents, they have all these people that you have as experts. They say it's impossible to vet them.
As for his conflict with Mexico,
I'm talking about a real wall. I'm talking about a wall that's got to be, like, serious.
And he's serious about Mexico paying for that, even considering a border tax on Mexican imports. A dispute over all that canceled next week's meeting with the Mexican president in Washington. President Trump will welcome his first world leader to the White House today.
British Prime Minister Theresa May will begin negotiating a U.S.-UK trade agreement with President Trump, telling congressional Republicans her aim is a global Britain better equipped to take its place in the world after Brexit.
Cementing and affirming one of the greatest forces for progress this world has ever known.
President Trump, who promises to renegotiate NAFTA and removed the U.S. from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, says he prefers bilateral trade deals. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Tomorrow, President Trump will have his first phone call with Russian President Putin since winning an election Russia's accused of interfering with. A mass shooting at a Florida school averted. Police say a 13 and 14-year-old were plotting to attack the village's charter middle school.
They say word got out around the school about the planned attacks, and teachers overheard students talking about it, learning the names of the students involved, and that the attack was planned for today. Sheriff's deputies called to investigate say they interviewed both boys, and they both admitted they were planning the attack.
That's Fox's Gary Baumgarten. Deputies also searched both boys' homes and found weapons. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
A new president has taken office, and now he must get to work. What will President Trump accomplish in his first 100 days? What should his priorities be? Join AM 560 for an exciting evening on Wednesday, March 22nd. It's Trump, the first 100 days, featuring Sean Hannity, Mike Gallagher, Dan Proft, and Joe Walsh. See them all live at the Bolingbrook Golf Club. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/Trump. Sponsored in part by Woodfield Nissan.
The U.S. economy has been getting stronger,
and home values have been increasing. This good economic news presents a unique financial opportunity for you. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Many of our clients have been taking cash out of their homes, a strategy that might work for you. The smart move is to refinance your mortgage right now with Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.18%, APR 4.35%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN to see how much we can lower your mortgage payment. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the 3rd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
This hourly segment is powered by CharlesEquipment.com, keeping the lights on through winter's dark storms.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, news earlier in the week has been overshadowed by news later in the week, like the showdown between Mexico and, well, Donald Trump, President Trump, yesterday. But earlier in the week, Donald Trump caught some heat for, again, suggesting that millions of persons who do not have the right to vote voted in the November 8th election. That's the proximate cause of him losing the popular vote. Sean Spicer was challenged by the D.C. press corps. Well, if this was such a problem, if such fraud was committed, then this is a big deal. You should have a national investigation into voter fraud in this country, shouldn't you? Ha, ha, ha. And the response from the Trump administration, good idea.
Yeah.
Why don't we go ahead and do that?
And they are going to do it.
And two individuals that have been writing about voter fraud for some time, John Fund, formerly the Wall Street Journal, he writes over at National Review now, and Hans von Spakovsky, we've had on the show before. He's a scholar at the Heritage Foundation, senior legal fellow there, former FEC commissioner and Department of Justice lawyer. They've been writing about voter fraud for a long time. The Heritage Foundation has done some good work, as we discussed earlier in the week, at actually documenting cases of voter fraud, criminal convictions, 700 plus criminal convictions for voter fraud. Voter fraud of all sorts. And, of course, here in Chicago and Cook County, we understand there are infamous instances of substantial voter fraud. And the discussion has been difficult because, on the one hand, Trump makes unsubstantiated claims with respect to a specific number, and so he's not presenting evidence. And on the other hand, you have a D.C. press corps that's not really interested in evidence or the underlying issue. They're just kind of interested in trying to delegitimize Trump on the issue. So why don't we try and shed some additional light on the topic rather than just engage in the heat of the back and forth between Trump and the D.C. press corps? And to help us do that is the aforesaid Hans von Spakovsky. Hans, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Dan, Amy, good morning. Thanks for having me.
So you and John Fund penned an op-ed for Fox News, Why Trump's Probe of Voter Fraud is Long Overdue. Well, why is it?
Well, for example, for the past 8 years, the Obama administration is doing everything it can to stop any look into these issues and, in fact, have attacked states that have tried to improve election integrity by putting in things like voter ID or requiring proof of citizenship when you register to vote. And all those things are needed because, in fact, we do have a problem. We just don't know how big the problem is.
Well, Hans, is there any truth to what Donald Trump is saying that anywhere between 3 to 5 million people voted illegally in the last election?
Well, again, we don't know the answer to that because we have such a rickety honor system. No states verify any of the information they get when people register to vote. And is that a problem? Well, sure. Look, 30 years ago in Chicago, the Justice Department prosecuted one of its biggest voter fraud cases ever. Among the people they convicted were more than a dozen aliens who illegally voted in the election. People say that was 30 years ago, but I recently read two federal decisions from the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, which covers Illinois, and what were they about? Two aliens who, the moment they got to Illinois, went and got a driver's license, registered to vote, and voted in the elections. The only reason they were caught was because they were trying to get a change of status, get their visas renewed, and it turned out when they were investigated, they had registered and voted. That would never have been found. Why? Because Illinois doesn't actually check to make sure people are citizens when they register to vote.
Now, as you know, of course, elections are state and local matters. So is it appropriate for the federal government to be the investigatory body kind of writ large, or should this be something where states and localities that have where there is demonstrable evidence that voter fraud has occurred or questions about processes in place to safeguard the integrity of elections, they be incentivized to kind of investigate or bring in specific outside investigators just to look at those areas?
Well, it's a matter of both. I mean, for example, the state investigators ought to be investigating these matters. Prosecutors ought to be prosecuting them, but they often don't do it. The federal government does have a role because, for example, the federal motor voter law requires state election officials to regularly clean up their voter rolls, to take people off who have died, take people off who have moved away. A lot of states simply aren't doing that. We know for certain that there are almost 2 million people who are dead who are still on voter rolls across the country, and there are almost 3 million people who are registered in multiple states. The issue is how many of those folks are actually taking advantage of that, for example, and voting in more than one state at the same time. That's illegal under both state and federal law, but no systematic efforts have ever been made to actually investigate that.
What about people who are registered? Because I know somebody, this is kind of bad, but who has 2 homes in Chicago, and they vote in one precinct, and then they go and vote in the other precinct because they own 2 different homes.
That is illegal.
I told them that, but
do that.
Right. But what's the penalty if they got caught? I mean, what?
Just a couple of years ago, a woman who was running to be a Democratic congressional candidate in Maryland, her name is Wendy Rosen, some opposition researchers took a look at her and discovered the same thing. She owned homes in Maryland and Florida and had voted in both states in 3 different elections. Not only did she have to withdraw from the race, but she eventually pleaded guilty to voter fraud.
Yeah, we had actually that occur with a state legislator in Chicago who gave a phony address, and that is a crime, and she ultimately was removed from office and prosecuted criminally. So, I mean, these things are real, and they do happen. And so, but it doesn't help if we get out over our skis in terms of what we know to be true, the evidence, the scope of the problem. Let's talk about what we kind of know to be true from anecdotes like this and from data that's been collected and research that's been done by Pew or by those professors at Old Dominion and George Mason, and not make wild assertions that you can't prove like President Trump did.
Well, look, I would agree that we really don't know whether 3 to 5 million illegal votes were cast. But what we do know is that is a possibility, and that's based on the data that we have. And I think it's actually great that he's saying, you know what, we're actually going to start taking a look at this and doing something about it. I mean, look, I give you another quick example of how things haven't been done about this. Just before the election, a group in Virginia discovered more than 1,000 aliens had recently been taken off the voter rolls in just 8 counties in Virginia. Many of them had voted in prior elections. Nothing's been done about it. They haven't been investigated. They haven't been prosecuted. And there's about 1,000 potential cases of voter fraud.
I mean, is there any explanation for opposition to voter ID laws? Not from the courts and, kind of their interpretation of statute and precedent, but by politicians. When you have, as you did right before the election, Vox.com, the left conceding the data which is that there's no proof that voter ID laws inhibit minority turnout, inhibit minority participation in elections. So that's the main argument that those who oppose voter ID laws make. So if that turns out not to be true, what legs do the left have to stand on with respect to their opposition to something as simple as having to present proof of identification before you get a ballot?
Well, they don't have a valid reason to oppose it. The only reason they have to oppose it is if they want it to make it easy to commit voter fraud. And I would remind you, just before the election, remember, Project Veritas released undercover videos of two longtime Democratic campaign consultants, including folks who were working for the DNC, and they talked about how they had committed fraud in prior elections and were going to do it again in this election by recruiting lots of people and ship them from polling place to vote. Well, you can't do that kind of fraud if you have a voter ID requirement.
And what do you do in states like California where, providing a driver's license to non-citizens, how does that help them illegally register to vote?
Well, because if you look at what California is doing, of course, everybody now knows you can register to vote when you get your driver's license. And since California will be automatically registering everyone who gets a driver's license, California isn't differentiating between citizens and non-citizens. They're saying they're going to leave it up to the person getting the license to tell officials, no, they shouldn't be registered. Now, how many folks are going to do that? Well, I know for a fact that non-citizens have been caught registering and voting in California, and they probably have the worst problem in the country, but they apparently don't care about it.
If you had a state that was serious about ballot integrity and running free and fair elections so that those who have the right to vote don't see their franchise taken away by someone who does not have the right to vote. We don't have that in Illinois, but someday maybe. But if we did have that, what would a governor or a state administration do in terms of enlisting the federal government for help? Agencies you go to as a way to verify, to clean your voter rolls, what could be done?
What could be done is, first of all, they set up an arrangement with the Department of Homeland Security to check the state's voter registration list against the alien records maintained by DHS. They set up an arrangement with the Social Security Administration to check the master death index to take off people who have died, maybe in other states, but who are registered in your state. And on a state basis, you put in a requirement for photo ID, not just for in-person voting, but also for absentee ballots, and you require proof of citizenship when people register to vote.
I think those are some good ideas. But I mean, in Chicago, disenfranchising the dead is that's a bridge too far.
Well, how many people do you think are voting in Chicago that are dead?
Most of them are dead from the neck up.
Right.
And some of them are actually in the ground. He is Hans von Spakovsky, Senior Legal Fellow at the Heritage Foundation, former FEC Commissioner and Department of Justice Attorney. Hans, thanks always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, the decriminalization of domestic violence. Oh, yeah. Who can you smack and who you can't touch? It's happening in Russia. But first, here's your forecast today. Cloudy, breezy, a high of 31 degrees. Your weekend looks not so good. Saturday, we're going to have some clouds and a flurry or two, a high of 31. And on Sunday, mostly cloudy, a couple of snow showers, and a high of 29 degrees. Let's get into the traffic center, our alarm detection systems traffic center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. In Elmhurst, southbound York remains closed. Fremont to North Avenue after yesterday's fire in a bridal shop. Northbound has reopened, but there's still a right lane closure. Round Lake 120 shut down in both directions at Bacon Road due to a crash. Kennedy inbound delays start at Cumberland, 22 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound fine at 20. Edens is still clear. Got Eisenhower. It's a 5-minute delay from Mannheim to Harlem. Stevenson running 41 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, 23 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound 20, jammed Cermak to the Stevenson where there's a crash blocking 3 right lanes. Toys are good. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
A text from 815. So Amy is aware of a felony having been committed and is choosing to do nothing. And we want the name and rank of your friend who's a voter fraudster.
I don't kiss and tell. I'm not a snitch. Snitches end up in ditches, Dan.
As we talked about yesterday, this is a space here in the studio that believes in enhanced interrogation techniques. Keith, bring out the water boards. The website is upstream-ideas.com. Premium content that complements what we do here on this show. You'll want to catch my interview this week with Mark Glennon from wirepoints.com, former corporate attorney and venture capitalist who breaks down property taxes, pension obligations, everything having to do with Illinois state finances and makes it tangible so that it's accessible. We've got 60-second commentaries, 2-minute warnings, Man on the Street, Follow the Logic segments, podcasts of our Illinois Rising program that covers state of Illinois policy and politics. We'll break down the governor's State of the State address and the ongoing budget impasse on Sunday afternoon. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Hi, I'm Andrea Kashava, owner of Tulane & Associates, an accounting and tax service in Elk Grove Village. If you're a small business, feeling snubbed or overcharged by your current accounting firm, I invite you to give us a try. You shouldn't have to feel overlooked by your current tax accountant because you're a small business. Small businesses and individuals are my specialty. I will always treat you and your business with respect, and we'll take care of as much or as little as you'd like us to do. From payroll to sales taxes, financial statements to business and personal taxes, projections, or bookkeeping services. Call Tulane & Associates at 847-952-1510 or visit TulaneandAssociates.com. That's THULIN, Tulane & Associates. Get a no-cost 1-hour initial consultation that could change the way you do business. Call 847-952-1510. That's 847-952-1510.
AM 560, The Answer.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
I'll tell you what, I'm warming up to Putin after I heard about this legislation that's bubbling up to his desk.
Yeah, it's called the slapping law, and this is not a joke or a radio bit. There's a controversial bill that would decriminalize some forms of domestic violence in Russia.
Well, it's friendly punching.
Under the bill, hitting a family member would no longer be a crime.
Especially if that family member's in the Ukraine.
For first-time offenders who inflict physical pain but do not cause serious bodily injury. So you can smack people around. You can smack around your mom. You can smack around your husband. You can smack around your kids, and there's no penalty.
Hey, Mom, the meatloaf. It's just like a little slap upside the head kind of thing.
Well,
what are you doing?
Russia's lower house of parliament, the state
the
Duma, approved the bill. Are you ready? 385-1.
This is not controversial, and the one guy who voted against it summarily got a beatdown.
But a lot of people, I just don't understand. And Putin this morning said that he'd support the bill. So it's acceptable.
Of course he would.
He said, and then 19% of Russians said, yeah, it should be acceptable to hit one's wife, husband, or child in certain circumstances. It's like, spanking.
Well,
kind of, but I mean, it's not on the butt. It's on the face or on the body. You can hit them as long as they don't have to require medical care. They're not going to get.
Who makes the
arrested.
Judgment call on, pain versus physical damage? Is that a Putin call? Does he handle these cases himself?
Well, he's got to sign off on it. Yeah, I mean,
no, really,
what the penalty will be.
So,
what is slapping? What's appropriate slapping and what's inappropriate slapping?
Well, so. I mean, you're not opposed to corporal punishment, are you?
Yeah, I'm not. I can't do that. DCFS would be all over you. When you have kids of your own or rent some,
you can't
or become a foster dad, you can't smack them, Dan.
Oh, you can't rap a kid on the behind.
No, I'm not. Trust me, I know you cannot touch them.
Well, I'm not-
anywhere because
I
kids
am-
have all the rights now and all the power. It's kind of messed up system. So in
Yeah,
Russia, they're
it's
trying to
working out
take
well.
it back. They're trying to take it back.
I am not an opponent of corporal punishment. I'm not an opponent of nuns rapping me on the knuckles like they did in grade school and high school and last week at Mass. But so if you're not opposed to that, you just look at this as like corporal punishment for adults.
Really?
Don't you think? It's just like a little slap fight. Those could be fun. Like you start out where go ahead, slap me, and you slap somebody in the
back.
face, and then they slap you harder, and then it escalates, and then somebody winds up in the ICU.
But if it was just about spanking, I mean, here I feel like they're protecting the attacker by saying, you know what, it's all right. Just you can smack her around. You can smack your kids around. There's no harm, no foul. Just don't do it too aggressively.
Well, you can't.
So you can't leave a mark.
You can't hit a woman.
Yeah,
No.
you can. Under this, you can hit a woman.
No, I can't. No, I can't abide that. But I think this is kind of it could be feminist legislation if you allowed it only to go one way, where women can take out their frustrations on their husbands. With the little beat down.
Women's rights groups have vocally opposed the bill, Dan, in Russia, saying that the decriminalization of assaults will only encourage more violence in the country, where the rate of assaults, I guess, in homes are relatively high.
Seems to me there's a lot of punk asses in Chicago that could use a little bit of a slapping around, though, from some kind of adult parental guardian figure, don't you think?
Well, when we were growing up, I don't know about you, but we got out the belt. Our dad got out the belt. If you
got out the belt on your dad?
No, I'm sorry, he got out the belt.
Did it go
on us?
Did it go both ways?
No, it didn't go both ways.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
but I'm telling you that instilled fear in me, not to do, to not what's the word? Not to be a bad kid.
Yeah.
You know what? Who wants the belt? And everybody, that was the talk among all the kids all the time.
Right.
Did you get the belt?
You grew up to be an
Or get out
upstanding citizen because of that belt.
the wooden spoon? I mean, that's what happened back then.
I know, and it's interesting because sometimes I'll pick up my cup of coffee to take a drink, and you flinch, like I'm coming after you. Still kind of the PTSD from the belt. Is that what's happening? No, I mean, obviously this is kind of silly legislation, and I would think
It's going to pass.
well, it did pass.
It did pass, but it's got to go up to Putin's desk, and he said he's going to sign it. It's a law, the slapping law.
I think Putin would sign off on submission holds. I think he would sign off on MMA in your household. It does kind of raise the issue, the real issue of like corporal punishment, and as you said, the removal of parental rights to discipline your children, not to beat your children, not to Adrian Peterson your children with switches and sticks. I'm not talking about that.
He got to pick out his own switch. The kid, before he hit him with it, he said, "Go pick it out in the backyard." So he picked out his own stick that his dad hit him with.
Yeah, but I mean, but you raise a point because I got the belt too.
Yeah,
I got.
Did you ever get once you got the belt? Did you ever get the belt again? Because I didn't.
I did. I was a slow learner.
What did you do? Do you remember? Steal candy from a store? What'd you do?
I didn't.
Not do your chores?
No.
Did you do something to Angel, your cat?
I got a B+.
Oh, unacceptable!
Right. Well,
I mean, you know what? I can't
the only
even
way I'll
look
learn.
at you.
So what about that though? Like your parents and my parents would be in prison according to what you say the standard is today.
Yeah, because I had to take some parenting classes. All right,
That's-
it's okay. It's all right. It all makes you a better person, and you can't touch them. You can't touch their hair. I mean, children have so many rights that we didn't have when we were growing up that it's ridiculous, and it's almost it's to the point where you think big government. They're watching how you parent.
Right, because your kids aren't your own. They're just
Right.
loaned to you by the government until the government decides that they should be turned over to somebody else or nobody. The government will raise them themselves, and they're doing a bang-up job, as we see. Yeah, but the whole thing, like, I look back on that, and I don't have any problem with it. It was a learning experience, and
I'm not scarred from it.
It was discipline, and it's just so silly. It's just just get out of my household. Get out of our business. To the extent you cross the line and are inflicting bodily damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it's just I mean that's kind of it. But a rap on the head or a rap on the behind or even the belt, I don't have a problem with
But
that.
I like it goes both ways, so women can hit their men too. It's not gender bias. I'm just saying it's not, if a woman wants to smack her husband, then she won't get charged either.
Yeah, but But under that law, there's the opportunity for this to go a few rounds, and that's not, I don't think, what you want.
No, I don't think so either.
Particularly when the vodka's flowing.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. I went from being able to work 14, 16 hours a day with no problem to where I could barely walk a block to the store. I went on to the phytonutrients about 6 months ago, and within a couple of months, my medical doctor had cut my prescriptions down in a little bit smaller dosage. The next time I went back a month later, I walked into the doctor's office and he says, "My gosh, what's happened to you? You don't even look like the same person." He looked at my legs and the swelling had gone down. My blood pressure was down. The venous stasis ulcers that I had had on my legs for the last 4 or 5 years because of the poor circulation were all healed, and I'm feeling far better.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Hey, I'm Brant. So there's this guy named Jordan. He's a healthy guy. He's a dad of 6, and he works as a guide in Alaska. And he goes to the doctor, true story, he goes to the doctor and he's diagnosed with cancer, stage 4. And here's the thing. He had switched earlier from medical insurance to Medishare, where Christians share each other's medical bills. So the question for Jordan and his wife, Jenny, was, is this actually going to work?
Our medical bills exceeded $160,000. Medishare members shared all our bills.
And it was about more than just the money, too. This is a real community.
Medishare is a family, a group of people that stick with you through the hardest times of your life. I just don't know how I could have done it without Medishare.
It's so worth looking into. There's a reason this is growing so fast. So if you want to find out more, here is a number for you, 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE.
Highland Park Ford Lincoln's in the house. Here's Alan Marty.
For 30 years, we've been making people happy with incredible deals and service.
We're the best Ford Lincoln dealers in town.
Because making people happy makes us happy.
No doubt. This is one happy place.
Heck, we just break into dance all the time.
We don't break into dance at the dealership.
Sure we do.
No, we really don't.
We could. Come on, Marty, dance with me.
The Highland Park Ford Lincoln Superstore. Call 1-800-984-9000 or go to alanmarty.com.
Admit it.
Okay, you're a lovely dancer.
Thank you. This is Alan Marty. Deal with us.
Life should be an adventure, and so should your health. It's another can't-miss Health Quest radio show this Saturday morning.
Dr. David Kolbaba. I'm the host of Chicagoland's longest-running health news and science show. As a primary natural health care practitioner, I've been helping people just like you reach a higher place of health and longevity, utilizing more natural strategies as I believe our Creator meant it to be.
Create your adventure in health. Tune into Health Quest Radio every Saturday morning at 11 on AM 560. The Answer. AM 560. The Answer.
All right, real quick, I think we got a good story here. George in Libertyville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Tell us about corporal punishment.
Good morning, guys. I got to tell you, like many of us, when we were growing up, we weren't afraid of the police as much as we were what was going to happen if we did get caught when we had to eventually go home.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks for the call, George. Yeah, exactly.
He knows what we're going through.
Exactly.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Miami-Dade mayor walks away from his city's sanctuary city designation. Isn't that interesting? At 6:36.
But first, let's go to the newsroom. I'm trying again to do a tease. Here's a tease for you. A basketball player's eye is popped out, and he can still see. He can still see. Dan's gonna break it down for us later. It happened inside the paint. All right, here's Mike Scott with the news.
In New Zealand, it's an incredible story. You'll want to stick around for that. It's amazing. 27 degrees outside, cloudy skies. We've had some snow showers. President Donald Trump says a meeting with Mexico's president would have been fruitless without discussions about a border wall and renegotiation of NAFTA. President Nieto called off next week's summit. British Prime Minister Theresa May will summit with President Trump.
We have the opportunity, indeed the responsibility, to renew the special relationship for this new age. We have the opportunity to lead together again.
The variety of topics include a possible bilateral trade agreement. 2 Florida teens in custody after allegedly planning a mass shooting at their middle school near Orlando. Tiger Woods returned to the PGA Tour, off to a bit of a rough start. It's okay. The 14-time champ carded a 4 over 76. Yesterday's first round of the Farmers Insurance Open at Torrey Pines in La Jolla, California. No pain, though, for Tiger Woods for the first time in years. U.S. Representative Robin Kelly is inviting President Donald Trump to visit Chicago.
Let him send resources. Let's pass some of the legislation, like for national trafficking bills, so guns aren't floating here from Vice President Pence's Indiana or Speaker Ryan's Wisconsin.
Kelly saying Trump can gain a better understanding of issues and people. Authorities are still trying to figure out what caused a massive fire that destroyed a VIP Occasions bridal shop in Elmhurst. Firefighters battled the flames late into the evening. It started around noontime. No injuries reported. Southern Illinois University will not have a tennis team next year, men's or women's, and its men's swimming and diving team will be slashed, but will remain. The schools yesterday announcing cuts in that men's swimming and diving program, part of a major budget overhaul. School leaders say the cuts will save $600,000. No word on reductions of any other sports at SIU. Winnipeg beat the Blackhawks 5-3. Northwestern topped Nebraska 73-61 in Big Ten hoops. And the news, a service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast. If you swipe your card, you leave a trail of digital information thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? Their U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to LifeLock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. 6:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager agrees with Donald Trump's actions.
He will confront people that nobody confronts. He has confronted a black icon.
Not about his iconic state. He has nothing to say about that.
But if the man is going to announce something as despicable as announcing that this president is not a legitimate president, he needs to be called out on it. Icon doesn't mean infallible.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, great coffee, period.
Hi, I'm Tom Sadeka, President and CEO of Precision Payroll of America. I'm reaching out to you today and asking you to take a look at your business relationships from a different angle. Have you ever wondered what organizations and causes your vendors support? I have, and it's eye-opening. Our nation is divided, and normal, traditional values are coming under attack by heavily financed aggressors. I can tell you that we do not and will never support hood and matter. We do support our veterans, our students fighting for truth, and yes, AM 560. If you currently use or need a payroll service, please let's meet. If you have no need, please consider the other advertisers on this station, as we are all fighting the same fight and we need to unite. To work together, call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. On the web at precisionpayroll.com. Let's talk, let's meet, let's unite.
6:35. Let's get an update on the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. AM 560's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Michael. Here's some good news on a Friday morning. York Road is mostly reopened in Elmhurst after yesterday's fire at the bridal shop. Southbound, it's entirely open between Fremont and North Avenue. South of 290, northbound, there is still a right lane closure on the block where that fire happened, right at Brantley. Otherwise, the road is open again. Edens is 27 minutes from Lake Hook to Montrose. Blaze starting past Chewy, outbound 20 minutes. Kennedy, 30 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 21. The Eisenhower, 42 minutes. Thorndale to the post office downtown, outbound 31 minutes. Stevenson, 48 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Traffic as a service of Staples. Is your New Year's resolution to be smarter with your spending? Staples has low prices on printers, ink, and toner. And during Staples' January printing event, get up to $120 off HP Office Jet Pro printers. Ends 128. Restrictions may apply. See store or staples.com. Staples, make more happen. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Cloudy, breezy, 31 today. Cloudy, breezy, 24 overnight. The news is a service of Staples. It's your New Year's resolution to be smarter with your spending. Staples has low prices on printers, ink, and toner during Staples' January printing event. See store or staples.com. Staples, make more happen. Next news update at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Tasty Catering. Get top-tier catering for a budget-friendly price. Plan your party now at tastycatering.com.
Your money. Find out how to keep more of it and live debt-free. Tonight on The Dave Ramsey Show, starting at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, he gone. He is Mark Morgan. He is the U.S. Border Patrol chief and former FBI agent.
You're right.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Or God bless you.
Gesundheit. I'll take any of the above. Mark Morgan, Border Patrol chief, asked to step down. He is departing. Trump's going to put his own guy in there, not leave an Obama holdover. Makes sense.
Yeah, and didn't 4 people leave the State Department yesterday, too? Pack up your stuff.
Rexon's coming.
Yeah, seriously. Bye. Thanks for your service. Some, I know, and other members retired early and some quit, but 4 were escorted out of the building yesterday.
It's going to be some turnover. That's appropriate to put in your team. Here's the thing. On Sanctuary City, Tiny Dancer has doubled down saying, we don't want any of our tax dollars back. We would rather not comply with federal immigration law than receive any taxpayer funding back.
And how much is it?
Any of our tax dollars back.
From, God, some publications are saying 10 million. I thought, no,
billion.
isn't it 5 billion?
Billion.
Right, it's 5 billion.
Well, the number, it's a little bit of a moving target because you don't know necessarily all of those things that will be covered by Trump's executive order or can be covered under the law. So, but in addition to Trump's executive order, remember his executive orders are the opener. That's the ante. You have congressional legislation pending on a range of these issues that Trump is dealing with as he can within his power as the chief executive. But Congress is aiming to deal with them as well. Lou Barletta, a congressman from Pennsylvania, has introduced legislation that will lay out with more specificity what sanctuary cities will and will not be eligible for in terms of federal dollars. And that has chastened some mayors, not Tiny Dancer, because Chicago's so well run and flush with cash. So it's easy for him to make this statement about Chicago values, meaning we pick and choose which federal laws we want to comply with. We pick and choose which law enforcement agencies we want to work with. That's Rahm's Chicago values. Miami-Dade Mayor Carlos Jimenez, on the other hand, he has reversed course. He ordered yesterday county jails to comply with federal immigration detention requests, which effectively guts the county's position as a sanctuary for immigrants in the country illegally. He cited Trump's executive order that threatened to cut federal grants for any counties or cities that don't cooperate with ICE. And this has been the policy up until Thursday of Miami-Dade since 2013.
Donald Trump was quick to respond on Twitter. He said, Miami-Dade mayor dropped sanctuary policy. Right decision. Strong! !
Yeah.
But do you think Tiny Dancer would ever do this? I mean, some are saying $1.5 billion or $5 billion that he would drop the sanctuary.
Well, he's obviously not. That's his position. He's looking. He's not. His interest is his reelection in 2019. His interest is him maintaining power. And, he's proven to be a survivor. He will do whatever it takes to stay in power. He's not interested in the safety, security, economic well-being, quality of education in the city of Chicago or for Chicago families. Is that not clear to everybody? Is there anybody confused on that point?
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer.
Because if you are confused on that point, then you have been completely oblivious to everything that has happened since at least 2011, if not well before then.
Well, where's the revenue going to come from? I mean, $1.5 billion in grants from Washington this year alone. How are we going to make up for that lost revenue?
Well, I don't know. Raise taxes. More borrowing, and that's just a backdoor tax because, of course, who pays the interest on those bonds? The bond theory? No, you do. So, the home that you don't really own Tiny Dancer will just have to destroy some more of your equity in your home. What's the big deal? Maybe a city income tax. Maybe, get rid of these pesky exchanges by imposing that LaSalle Street financial transactions tax that Karen Lewis has been railing about for years. I don't know. That's all good public policy according to Chicago voters. So let's do it. City income tax, seize your home effectively, slowly, but pick up the pace. And financial transactions tax, more sugary drink taxes. I don't know, raise that. Raise taxes on bullets and guns and everything under the sun. Let's do it. I want triple, quadruple, quintuple down on what we've been doing because that's what people want. Give the people what they want, right?
Well, the people that, that are supporting Mayor Emanuel, they're here illegally. They met yesterday at City Hall. Many of them undocumented demanded that Chicago strengthen its sanctuary city ordinance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here we go.
We got to strengthen it. Exactly.
Yeah. Here's the cheer.
Undocumented! Unafraid! Undocumented! Unafraid!
And the mayor said these people had the courage to come forward and sign up and be compliant and sign up with the government, to be dreamers, and that they're afraid now that they're going to be deported.
Well, it's funny because the chant just said undocumented and unafraid.
Yeah.
So then we're good.
Well, here's one of the protesters.
Not as a symbolic show of solidarity, but because our safety, our well-being, our fate is linked
to each other.
Yeah. Hey, their city. We've ceded the rule of law. We've ceded other people's property, liberties to those that will decide what laws they follow and what laws they don't. That's Chicago. And that's what people want. So great. I mean, they're certainly well within their rights as described by Tiny Dancer. They are representative of Tiny Dancer's Chicago values and the Chicago values that have, that have been emblematic of the Chicago Democrats in charge of the city and the state.
Which makes me think if they're undocumented here illegally, are they registered to vote?
I hope so. Well, but I mean, I don't care if they're registered, just as long as they vote. That's the important thing.
All right.
Well, they should vote.
Mm-hmm.
And they should support, help support the Democrats that are in charge of the city. That, all of your Champagne socialist friends support. And that's the nice thing. Then in case somebody in Lakeview doesn't vote for the Democrats up and down the ballot, then you've got individuals who don't have the right to vote to cancel out their vote. So it's a nice backstop, you see?
Yeah.
No, it's good. People in other cities and states feel differently. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, you could have governors of states follow Trump's lead on this topic. You understand that, right? Because cities like Chicago rely on substantial funding from the state as well as the federal government. Same thing in Austin, Texas. And Texas Governor Greg Abbott is vowing to cut funding to Austin's new sheriff after she announced her county would scale back cooperation with federal immigration officials over deportations. He said Governor Abbott of Texas, where they have a Republican governor, obviously Republican state legislature and conservative leadership. Abbott's threatening to withhold nearly $1.8 million in state law enforcement grants following the Travis County Sheriff's decision, Sally Hernandez's decision, to buck state law and no longer honor all jail detainers sought by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So these debates and the battle is raging not just at the federal level of Trump, but also in states where you have, rogue local officials that don't want to comply with state law, or you actually have rogue local officials who just make the law, like here in Chicago. Yeah, it's fun. Mike on the north side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, kids. Hey, this could be a real problem for Rahm. If he loses $5 billion, he won't be able to fund all those programs for the storefront reverends and the gay community and the retired city workers who lost their insurance and Black Lives Matter. You don't think these other groups would turn against the Democrats and the illegals like the white working class did in this last election, huh?
Well, let's see. The vote total, Hillary versus Donald Trump in the city of Chicago is 86-14. So I'd say no. I'd say no, they won't. Stockholm Syndrome in Chicago, particularly vicious and virulent, Mike. So people happy to vote against their interests.
If they lose their goodies, they may not vote for Rahm. They may vote for someone else with a D next to their name.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah, maybe Mayor Chuy Garcia. That'll be an improvement, particularly on this topic. Thanks for the call, Mike. Joanne at Midway.
Hello. Good morning.
Morning.
I just wanted to state that I would like you, Dan, especially you because you're so knowledgeable, I would like you to encourage the people in the city of Chicago to contact their aldermen and insist that we repeal this sanctuary city. We don't need it. We can't afford it. And when we lose the funding, which I hope we do, he can't keep taxing us. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Joanne. Well, it's interesting. There are, I always refer to the city council's 50 trained seals because that's generally true, but there are some exceptions. And actually, if you look at the aldermanic voting records in terms of the percentage they vote to do whatever Tiny Dancer says, the alderman who votes the least amount with Tiny Dancer is
Wasbeck?
No, he's second to the least. Actually, first-term alderman Andrew Napolitano on the 41st Ward on the northwest side, where a lot of the police and fire live, and he's sort of a Republican-ish kind of guy, not by label, but by by disposition. And so, it would be nice to see leadership from a Napolitano or from a Wagaspack who's also independent-minded. And maybe if somebody stepped out and introduced an ordinance along the lines that Joanne suggests, maybe you would see a revolt. I think
would be.
I think it's
historic.
Well, people have to decide if they want to stoke the revolt or if they want to accept the status quo. I don't know.
Maybe you can get to Napolitano. Hey, I got a homework assignment for you this weekend.
Knock, knock. Matt and Lamont, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Here's the idea I have. Since they're basically flaunting federal law, would it be possible to charge all these city officials and elected officials for, aiding and abetting or something, so we could just round them all up and throw them in prison where they belong anyway?
Well, yeah, but who's going to charge them? Who's going to prosecute them?
The Fed.
Thanks for.
They're violating federal law. It'd be something different for Chicago. Usually, we're just going to jail for bribery or some sort of other financial thing.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks for the comment. I don't know. My sense is that may require a new U.S. attorney because I haven't been overwhelmed by the performance of Zach Farden as the U.S. attorney for the Northern District of Illinois. Low-hanging fruit, Willie Cochran, the alderman,
right.
the easy ones.
He should go after the big dogs.
I agree. It'd be nice if somebody in this city did that and the state did that once in a while. Patrick Fitzgerald did. His record was decidedly mixed. So, yeah, you're going to have to governors. But it would be nice to see City Hall be turned upside down. And we haven't seen that from 219 South Dearborn in any material way. Jeff in Mount Prospect. Hey, Jeff.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Come on, you got to get with it. The City of Chicago, Rahm, he can start a GoFundMe page.
There you go. No, that's right. That's good thinking. I'm first money in.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get the momentum going. Annie on the northwest side.
First of all, Rahm doesn't represent my values because his values change like the weather here. But more citizens should be outraged because all of us that have worked hard our whole lives and paid into this country, elected politicians are actually putting criminals who are illegals before our own needs, and that's wrong.
Thanks for the call, Annie.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Cloudy, breezy, a high of 31 degrees. Your weekend looks pretty cloudy. No sunshine, that's for sure. Saturday, cloudy, cold, a flurry, a high of 31. And on Sunday, mostly cloudy and cold with a couple of snow showers, a high of 29 degrees. Let's see if there's any delays on the roadways and jump into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center Here's Jim Telemonte.
Amy, we actually have mostly good news to share right now. And in Elmhurst, York is almost entirely reopened, where there was a bridal shop fire yesterday south of 290 between North Avenue and Fremont. There is still a right lane closure northbound at Grantley on the block where that fire happened. Southbound, everything is open again. The crash reported on westbound I-80 at US 30. The Edens is 24 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. The Kennedy, 33 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound just 22 minutes. The Eisenhower, 42 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 31. The Stevenson is 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Really jammed Demon to the Rhine with the ramps backed up. Tollways are pretty light. It is slow on the northbound tri-state from the Reagan-Thorne to the Eisenhower. Forget the Rhine, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown, but outbound it's all clear now. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. What's next for new home sales? Mortgage rates climbing again, and Volkswagen is losing for some reason its emissions compliance officer. Those stories next.
Bill Bennett here to tell you about Augusta Precious Metals. Attention investors, your IRA or your 401k may be at risk again. The 2008 crash wiped out up to 50% of IRAs and 401ks. Can you afford to lose again? What if you could store IRA or 401k savings where you can see, touch, and hold it in your hands? With the Augusta Gold or Silver IRA, you transfer a portion of retirement savings into physical coins you can actually see and get fast in case of any disaster. Call Augusta Precious Metals today for a free gold and silver IRA guide. No obligation. Augusta Precious Metals, A+ Better Business Bureau rating, 98% 5-star customer satisfaction rating with TrustLink.org. Trust Augusta. Call Augusta Precious Metals today at 1-855-222-6993. That's 1-855-222-6993. One more time, 1-855-222-6993.
The Commerce Department reporting Americans pulled back sharply from buying new homes in December, but at the same time, figures show overall sales in 2016 the highest in 9 years. Freddie Mac says long-term mortgage interest rates rose this week after 3 consecutive weeks of declines. The average interest rate on a fixed 30-year loan climbed to 4.19%. Among the economic reports out today, the latest gross domestic product report also updates on durable goods orders and consumer confidence. A Volkswagen news release says only, quote, differences led to the departure. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Your company's critical projects involve improving processes, evolving business models, launching products, and realizing strategic imperatives. Integrated Project Management's core competency is execution, using process, leadership, and discipline to assure successful, sustainable results. Since 1988, IPM has led nearly 4,000 initiatives alongside our clients in a structured, engaging, and respectful manner. IPM's 7 nationwide offices employ consultants who excel at providing project management consulting to America's most successful firms. Their outstanding leaders transform strategy into reality, providing clients with a competitive advantage. IPM has been recognized as a top small and medium workplace and great workplace in consulting and professional services by Fortune magazine and one of the 25 best small companies by Forbes magazine. When your company needs help executing critical projects, visit IPMCinc.com or call Integrated Project Management's Chicago office at 630-789-8600. That's IPMCinc.com. Nothing matters if you can't execute.
Hey, have you thought about what you're getting that someone special, maybe a lady friend, for Valentine's Day this year? Forget the roses and candy. Take your Valentine to Punta Cana. Join us and Joe Walsh in Punta Cana, courtesy of Apple Vacations. We'll be staying at the Secrets Cap Cana Resort and Spa, unlimited luxury resort that opened a few months ago. It has all the bells and whistles. Go online and check it out. It is a gorgeous property. 24-hour room service, 7 bars, sparkling pools, and pristine beaches. So get more information and book your trip by visiting 560theanswer.com, keyword passport. And right now, listen up. You can enter for a chance to win a free trip exclusively by downloading and launching the AM560 mobile app. Go to 560theanswer.com/mobile or text the word app, APP, to 64636 to get the AM560 mobile app. And enter today, and good luck. Hey, last year's mild winter was nice. So far, though, we haven't been so lucky. Snowstorms, bitter cold, and it's only January. the price we pay for living here. So it's important to have a heating and cooling company you know you can depend on. That company is the original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling. They aren't one of those massive companies with newer technicians and subcontractors. Family-owned and operated, Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling send only their own highly skilled technicians. From service to installation and everything in between, the work quality and customer service is the best. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling keeps homes and businesses comfy and warm. Call Carrie at 847-545-1700 or visit arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.com. That's Carrie at 847-545-1700 or online at arlingtonheightsheatingandcooling.com. Mention AM 560 and receive 20% off your first service call. The original Arlington Heights Heating and Cooling, not the biggest, just the best.
I have actually been on Balance of Nature for a year now. I have MS, and I recently had an MRI. This is the first year that I've had a stable MRI, so I'm thrilled. When I have an MRI with MS, usually there are glowing spots that come through, which is damage on the nerves in my brain and my spinal cord, and when they're glowing, it means they're active. And then my last MRI, they pulled it up, and I honestly couldn't believe that it was my MRI. There was nothing glowing. And in fact, the dark spots were shrinking. They were healing. And the doctor actually said to me, I think we're in remission. I was so happy. I had no idea that that could be my reality.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
AM 560.
The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, the historic march, Vice President Pence to speak at the March for Life.
And at the bottom of the hour, former Mexican President Vicente Fox joins us. So set your clock for 7:37.
But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, fire destroys an Elmhurst bridal shop. A Chicago woman has been found not guilty of charges in the India Martin killing. We'll tell you why. There's a report out that Soldier Field will host the MLS All-Star Game in August. Senate leaders in Springfield are setting a new deadline, February, for their grand budget bargain. Rod Blagojevich's daughter calls out the former President Obama as spineless. Southern Illinois University cutting men's and women's tennis and men's swimming scholarships. Cloudy and breezy, high 31, and a low of 24 overnight. WIND Chicago News Time, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio. I'm Dave Anthony. President Trump as combative as ever, taking on the media.
These are very hostile people. These are very angry people. They're very dishonest people. The media is very dishonest. I've been saying it. I say it openly.
The president, talking to Fox's Sean Hannity, also said more about fighting terror and keeping refugees out. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, saying we can't take any chances, President Trump defended pending executive order suspending the nation's refugee program and halting the issuing of visas to citizens of certain countries. The president, who visits the Pentagon this afternoon, also stood by extreme vetting, pointing to ISIS.
They're sneaky, dirty rats. And they blow people up in a shopping center.
A draft executive order would reportedly suspend the country's broader refugee program for 120 days and prohibit citizens of Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, or Yemen from obtaining U.S. visas for at least 30 days. Dave.
Rachel, the president also says he is serious about that border wall.
A proper wall, not a wall that's this high like they have now. They have little toy walls. I don't know why they even wasted their time.
The White House is considering a border tax on Mexican imports as a way to pay for it. The conflict over the wall and the payment led to a meeting with Mexico's president next week being canceled today. The president will invite his first world leader to his White House, British Prime Minister Theresa May. Tomorrow, President Trump will have his first conversation since taking office with Russian President Putin.
If another nation that has considerable resources wishes to join together with the United States of America to try to defeat and eradicate radical Islamic terrorism, then we're listening.
Counselor to the President Kellyanne Conway on Fox. Thousands will gather in Washington today for the March for Life anti-abortion protests.
It's more than abortion. It's making sure that we respect people in all aspects of the term, from natural conception all the way until natural death.
Kevin Boley with the Arlington, Virginia Catholic Diocese. Vice President Pence will address the rally. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
27 degrees, cloudy skies, winds west at 12. Your bus stop wind chill this morning, 16 above. Bundle up. 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. U.S. Representative Robin Kelly extending an invitation to President Donald Trump to visit Chicago.
Let him send resources. Let's pass some of the legislation, like for national trafficking bills, so guns aren't floating here from Vice President Pence's Indiana or Speaker Ryan's Wisconsin.
Kelly saying Trump can also gain a better understanding of the people in her district. Authorities are trying to figure out what caused a fire that destroyed a bridal shop in Elmhurst. The blaze began around noontime yesterday in a building on North York Street, just south of the 290 extension that housed VIP occasions. No injuries reported. The sisters who owned VIP occasions were not in the shop at the time. Illinois Attorney General Lisa Madigan seeking to stop state worker pay until legislators and Governor Bruce Rauner approve a spending plan. She filed her motion in St. Clair County Circuit Court. That's the Metro East area of Illinois across from St. Louis. Meantime, immigrant rights activists in Chicago made a demand yesterday that the city defy President Trump's crackdown on sanctuary cities and funding. AM 560's David Stewart was there.
President Trump mentioned the crackdown again during his remarks to a GOP retreat in Philadelphia.
The immediate removal of criminal aliens, cracking down on sanctuary cities.
Chicago activists want the city to strengthen the ordinance that limits when Chicago police can provide information on arrestees to immigration. As is, information can be shared about those charged with felonies or with felony convictions, those in the city's gang database, and those with outstanding criminal warrants. The activists want those exceptions eliminated. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
Police are investigating after Metro trains were involved in two separate fatal accidents within 4 hours yesterday. First happening around 7 when a Union Pacific Northwest train struck a car near Northwest Highway. Another train on the same line struck a pedestrian near Crystal Lake. Winnipeg beat the Blackhawks. Big Ten hoops. Northwestern keeps winning. They beat Nebraska. The news, the service of LifeLock. Grabbing coffee or breakfast. If you swipe your card, you leave a trail of digital information thieves can use to steal your identity. Ever hear of LifeLock? Their U.S.-based team of specialists help resolve identity theft problems. Go to lifelock.com now. Use promo code RISK to save 10%. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity was happy to see Trump stand up to the mainstream media.
You know, I know the mainstream media is still licking their wounds after President-elect Trump smacked them around in the first press conference. I told you that was the greatest beatdown ever. If you know how abusively biased the mainstream media is, and the fact that they have been exposed to such an unbelievable level.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
The U.S. economy has been getting stronger, and home values have been increasing. This good economic news presents a unique financial opportunity for you. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Many of our clients have been taking cash out of their homes, a strategy that might work for you. The smart move is to refinance your mortgage right now with Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.18%, APR 4.35%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN to see how much we can lower your mortgage payment. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the third year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Test drive a Ford Escape and find out. With available EcoBoost power and a host of class-exclusive features designed to make life better. Compare Ford Escape next to a Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V, and the reasons start to stack up. The 2017 Escape. That's Ford. And that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on 2016 calendar year sales.
Hiring is the most challenging part of my job.
We started using ZipRecruiter about 3 months ago. One click and my job was posted to 200 plus job boards, all the top sites.
All of the candidates came to my dashboard, and it's easy to compare them.
And I couldn't believe the number of great applicants we got. I don't know how we hired before ZipRecruiter.
Find the best candidates with ZipRecruiter, where your job is just one click away from 200 plus job sites. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/easyhire. That's ZipRecruiter.com/easyhire.
7:07. Let's get an update on the roads. We do that in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. In Elmhurst, northbound York Road at Grant Lane, there's a right lane closure after yesterday's bridal shop fire, but southbound York is entirely open again. Eden's inbound. Delays start at Cicero, 21 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. At Kennedy, inbound at Addison, crash in the left lane. It's 32 minutes, so O'Hare to downtown, outbound 23. Eisenhower, 43 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 30. Stevenson, 49 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 34. Ryan, 27 minutes. 95th to downtown. Northbound Tri-State, stop and go for the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis. It's crashed there in the right lane. Heavy from the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower. Other tollways are good. Traffic answers when you need them most. Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Here's meteorologist Michael Stack.
Breezy and a bit cloudy out. Today's high 31. Breezy with mostly cloudy skies. Tonight, low 24. Cloudy skies seen Saturday, high 31. A bit cloudy on your Sunday with a couple of snow showers. Sunday's high 29. I'm Michael Stack on AM 560, The Answer.
28 degrees officially at O'Hare, 29 along Chicago's lakefront. Our next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour radio show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Programming note, he likes Twitter almost as much as Donald Trump. Vicente Fox, former Mexican president, joins us at 7:37 to talk about the wall, sanctuary cities, trade, and all sorts of other matters. But before we get to him, we want to talk about the March for Life weekend that kicks off today and features, for the first time ever, a Vice President of the United States speaking at it. He is Vice President Mike Pence, and he's going to be there. And Amy, after we talked a little bit about that live action undercover investigation into Planned Parenthood the other day, where Planned Parenthood suggests that they're very focused on prenatal care, and prenatal care is something that's important and that they do. And then Live Action investigated and called Planned Parenthood clinics in half a dozen states that they posted the audio of, and none of them did prenatal care. And on further investigation, 92 of the 97 clinics contacted don't do prenatal care. According to Planned Parenthood's own budget, it's about 0.2% of their budget is prenatal care, because what do? They do abortion.
Right. And I called 3 Planned Parenthoods in the Chicago area. Press 2, Dan, if you want abortion services. I mean, it says it on their main menu.
And then press 1 if you want abortion services, and then press 3 if you want abortion services, and press 4 if you want abortion services.
But and if you want to make an appointment, yeah. So I spoke with a woman because I wanted to know, do they give mammograms at any of these Planned Parenthoods? They do not. If you find a lump, they'll give you a breast exam, and then they'll write a prescription for you to go somewhere. They do not have a mammography there.
It's another lie.
And then this I could not believe this. So I called the Austin Healthcare Planned Parenthood, and they said, we are now offering medication abortion or abortion pill. And so I talked to one of the agents there, and I said, well, what is medication abortion? Are you ready for this? I've never heard of this. You take one pill at the clinic. The next day, when you're at your house, you take a second pill, and you start aborting the baby. I mean, it's self-abortion, but she said, if you go to school, if you work, you've got to stay home and be by, in the bathroom most of the day. She's like, it's very painful. There's a lot of cramping. I said, that just seems barbaric and very risky, to the reproductive organs. And she said, then 2 weeks later, you come back in.
Yeah,
But it's called medication abortion. I said, well, can
It's
anybody
turnkey.
do it?
Yeah.
And she said, well, you don't parental consent. You just have to tell your parents you're doing it. You don't have to get their approval.
Notification, not consent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, the real innovators
But they're-
over there,
they're-
Planned Parenthood.
But that, on their main menu, they're promoting that. Like, we are now featuring medication abortions.
It's exciting. By the way, this is being misreported. I heard it at Fox News, and we control the language here, and we are specific about language. This is the March for Life. The position is pro-life. It is not limited to unborn life. It is from conception to natural death. That is the pro-life movement, which is why when the media refers to this as anti-abortion and focuses on abortion purposefully and makes it anti rather than something that's positive and uplifting, that is fake news. That is their subjectivity. This is a pro-life movement, and it's the annual March for Life. And to talk about what will be featured this weekend, we're pleased to be joined by Mary Fiorito, who is an attorney and Cardinal George visiting fellow at the Ethics and Public Policy Center. Mary, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Oh, good morning. Thank you for having me.
So how do you think the March for Life will compare this weekend to the Women's Pee protests last weekend?
Well, I think the numbers are going to be pretty close from what I'm hearing from my friends in Washington. The March for Life, I would say on average, it's really hard, to get specific numbers because the media never covers us to begin with. But about 4 years ago, we had close to 650,000 people. So if it's close to those numbers, and I think it's going to be this year for a variety of different reasons, then we could match or even exceed the number of people who came out for, the P March, as we're calling it.
What about in terms of conduct? Is there a specific hat that everybody will be wearing?
I thought our ground rule for this interview was that there would be no hat discussion.
Right.
But I have small children listening.
Yeah, but Mary, don't you think that this March for Life this year is going to be, really, because the media is talking about it now because they're all, chomping at the bit to see who gets a bigger crowd, who draws more people.
Right. Yeah. Well, that seems to be sort of a engaging topic for the media this year is crowd size. I loved watching that interview with the president and David Muir, where he is so caught off guard when Trump really calls him out on the media not covering the March for Life. I don't know if you remember that particular segment of the interview. And then Muir says, oh, no, let's not get into comparing crowd size again. And Trump says, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that you people don't show up for this march. And this isn't just a one-time event, like the Women's March was. This has been going on every year for 44 years. This has been going on since 1974. So, and Dan, interestingly, you and Amy might like to know it has roots in Chicago because one of the founders was a woman who had entered the convent, decided to leave, and came to Chicago to teach in inner-city public schools here and was teaching in the black community and just was so appalled by what she saw in terms of lack of advantages, et cetera, et cetera. When she got out east, she really wanted to do something to help people who were less fortunate, and she became one of the co-founders of the March for Life.
You have written a piece in Crux, it's a Catholic outlet, cruxnow.com, how Dr. Seuss can help explain the March for Life to children. So do some rhyming for us.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, a person's a person, no matter how small. And thank you for mentioning that. I wrote a piece. It was actually based on a talk I gave at a large Catholic grade school earlier this week. This is sort of this whole week is really observed in the Catholic Church as one in which we draw attention to the unborn in particular. But I was trying to think of a way to talk to really younger kids about it. To the pre-kindergarten and kindergarten crowd. And one of the things that, every child has sort of a heart for protecting people who can't protect themselves or speaking for people. I think that's why, Horton Hears a Who, even it's 63 years old now, still really resonates with people, and it particularly resonates with little kids because they get that, So I had a very bad experience when my daughter was in first grade, and it was during the Obama one of the Obama election cycles, and she got in a heated conversation with a little boy who sat next to her, and she apparently told him, if you vote for that person, babies are going to die. So I got a rather unpleasant call from her teacher saying, you need to think of another way to explain this to your kids. So, for people who have young children, and that's the beauty of the March for Life, is that there are the diversity of it, but, so many young families come to the march, and, I think people think that we're swinging around bloody fetuses in little kids' faces, but it's not like that at all.
And how significant is it for you and for the others that are marching this weekend that Vice President Mike Pence is going to be speaking at the March for Life?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, just having an administration who's willing to talk to us, is hugely important for the pro-life community. I think this is the first time, though, Reagan phoned in a message and was kind of live by phone, as did President Bush. So it's not the first time we've ever had any support from a presidential administration. But to have someone actually come and speak, and it's not just Mike Pence, but Kellyanne Conway, I think 10 days ago had already said she was going to be there. And, she is one of the pro-life rank and file. I mean, back 20 years ago when I first started in the movement, when she was still Kellyanne Fitzpatrick and I was still Mary Ellen, she was doing pro-life media training. You would go out and there would be these kind of media weekends for young people who wanted to get involved in the pro-life movement, and she was one of the trainers. So what's really exciting for the pro-life movement is that not only does she understand the pro-life community, but she's one of us. So this is hugely different from what we've been dealing with, particularly in the last 8 years.
Speaking of something else that's hugely different, Donald Trump expected to announce his nominee for the vacancy on the Supreme Court created by Scalia's death.
Yes.
There's a lot of reporting in terms of the three finalists. We don't need to break them all down right now, but is there a choice among the reported three finalists or that's still in play that you think would be the best choice for the pro-life movement, or is it a situation of an embarrassment of riches? The names that are being bandied about are all going to be pro-life.
We say in my house, a choice between good.
Yes,
so we're choosing between three good things. Is it Hardiman is one name that I particularly like because his background story is simply so compelling that I think Democratic heads will explode. I mean, he was the first person in his family to graduate from an undergraduate college, much less law school, drove a cab at night to put himself through law school, went to Georgetown. I mean, he is the absolute epitome of the American success story. And plus his judicial philosophy is just so much in line with Scalia's. I think he'll be a perfect replacement. But again, he really is one of these sort of things that many people would look to and say, this is what the American dream is all about. This man lived it. And to become a Supreme Court justice from where he started.
One of the other finalists is Neil Gorsuch, who is he's from out west. And there's been I've seen some banter back and forth questioning his pro-life bona fides. No question about Bill Pryor, no question about Hardiman, some question about Gorsuch. What's your view on him, if you have one?
Dan, I've not read enough of his opinions that I could speak authoritatively to that. What's interesting is that the president had early on indicated that the Federalist Society would have some sort of role in vetting whoever the Supreme Court nominees would be. And so if they vetted him, I would find it very difficult to believe that particular issue would have gotten by them.
That's true.
I'm again, anybody can be a suitor, right? So we can never really specifically say what someone's going to do when a case comes in front of them. But, there are cases now sort of working their way through the court system that might not be a direct challenge to Roe, but, they're going to chip away at it pretty significantly. So, I guess it'll all come out in the confirmation hearings.
She is Mary Fiorito, attorney and Cardinal Francis George Visiting Fellow at the Ethics and Public Policy Center. Mary, thanks so much for joining us, as always. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Dan. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, a story that literally made me faint. And Dan's going to talk about it because I can't. Today, cloudy, breezy, a high of 31. Over the weekend, it's no sunshine. Saturday, clouds with a flurry or two, a high of 31. And on Sunday, mostly cloudy, cold, couple of snow showers, a high only in the upper 20s. Let's go into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, where it's not chilly in there, I hope. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Well, no, nothing too chilly, Amy. Nothing too scary on the roads right now. There are some delays on Metra's Union Pacific North line after some mechanical issues. About 20 minutes behind schedule all around there. Northbound Tri-State is backed up. From the Mylong Bridge to Kingsdale Oasis, the crash has moved to the right shoulder. Otherwise, the tollways are much lighter than usual. The Edens is pretty light, too. Just 20 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. Kennedy, really heavy Nagel to Irving Park, where a crash quickly cleared. Then from Fullerton the rest of the way in. It's 38 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Quicker in the express. Outbound just 25 minutes to the airport. The Ike, 42 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 32. Stevenson, 47 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. And Orion has improved. 26 minutes. 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Chuck Spaveri, CEO of Spaveri's Custom Counters, a Chicagoland manufacturer of residential and commercial countertops. If there's a local commercial bank who knows how to get a deal done, it's Signature Bank. When my brother and I needed it, Signature Bank came through with a creative financing solution. That's because Signature Bank has experience working with companies like ours, a second-generation, family-owned and operated manufacturer. Our business matters to Signature Bank, and that comes through in every visit and every phone call with their team, right up to the bank's co-founders, Kevin, Mick, and Brian. Spaveri's is proud to bank with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and I'm excited to tell you about Bert and Will Plastic Surgery and Laser Center. Childbearing, breastfeeding, weight gain, weight loss, or normal aging can cause a level of concern about our appearance. Oh, I know, and unfortunately, dieting, exercise, and healthy lifestyles aren't always enough. Dr. Bert offers the Mommy Makeover, including a tummy tuck and breast augmentation with the new Memory Shape implants. Dr. Will specializes in Botox, neck lifts, and many other procedures to uncover the beauty within. And now men and women can benefit from the great new NeoGraft hair transplant treatment that requires minimal downtime and no scarring. Doctors Bert and Will are female board-certified plastic surgeons. I've met them. I love them. I recommend you meet them too. You can receive a complimentary consultation at any of their Chicagoland offices or just register for a seminar. Call 630-930-3555 or visit uncovermybeauty.com. That's 630-930-3555 or uncovermybeauty.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Never saw Curly Neal or Meadowlark Lemon do
Okay, please.
what Akil Mitchell, 24-year-old former University of Virginia forward, did.
Oh, my God.
He plays for the New Zealand Breakers. This was in Auckland, New Zealand, and there is video of it.
Oh, please, I've never felt faint. I saw that. I jumped out of my chair. It is the most graphic, disgusting video ever. It's worse than, remember that guy who broke his shin bone?
Yeah, Louisville.
I got sick on that, but this is worse than that one.
Oh, this is, so he...
Tell him what happened, Dan.
He's going up at the hoop, and he got hit so hard, knocked him into next week, and popped his eye out of his socket. He was poked in the face while going for a rebound. And they have the eye kind of bulging out of the socket.
Oh my God, stop.
Now I looked at the video, and I got to say, that was a travel. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. Upon further review.
That's going the other way.
The grossest part of the story, though, I mean, but he's got his vision back. But when he said when his eye was popped out, he was like a chameleon. He could see in all different directions. He never lost sight. It's actually his vision field expanded. I mean, it's so gross. I'm going to throw up in my mouth.
That's good. I know. That's so cool. That's going to be the new hot procedure, is to have the eyes out of the sockets so you've got 360 vision. I mean, if I come in Monday and I've got the 360 vision, I mean, I'll wear shades if it makes you uncomfortable, but 360 vision for have your eyes out of your sockets. Did you ever see the movie? And if you have, I would be stunned and a little concerned. Midnight Meat Train?
Dan, I'm going to say no because I haven't seen it.
Midnight Meat Train. Actually, Bradley Cooper's in it.
Midnight Meat Train?
Midnight Meat Train. It's about a...
Sponsored by Wheaton Meat Company? What is it about?
No, it's a different kind of thing. It is by far, and I enjoy the Saw movies. I enjoy the horror movies.
That stuff.
I watch them like some people listen to humpback whale mating calls to go to sleep. I find it soothing. But this was the most graphic, disgusting slasher movie I've ever seen by far.
Okay.
And Evil Dead. I mean, all of the great. I've seen them all. Everything. Wes Craven's. Seen it all. John Carpenter. I've seen it all. Midnight Meat Train. Wow. And there's what this killer does in Midnight Meat Train. He hits people with a mallet so hard, he hit one, that the eyes popped out of the socket, but they were still hanging by the tendons.
Okay, that's what happened last night when he was rebounding the ball.
No. See, it wasn't. It was just here.
Okay, please.
Here, let me show you.
This is what's wrong with you. This is why you have no friends. Because I'm going to.
It's a bulbous orb that's projecting from his socket, his orbital area here, right? What I'm saying is, think about that. Now I want you to think about that. I want you to visualize it. Now think about it dangling in front of him from the tendon. And my question is, if it's dangling from the tendon, and this is what I want to find the answer. I don't know the answer. I'm not a doctor. If it's dangling from the tendon, would that be even better where you could kind of spin the eye? Maybe you could spin it on your finger like Curly Neal, the Globetrotters used to do. You could spin the eye on your finger. And then you'd have like rapid 360 vision, not just kind of the chameleon vision that this guy have now. And I wonder if chameleon vision could lead to maladies like walleye vision that John Cryer had in Hot Shots.
Oh, my God.
So I've got a lot of questions about this, what happened here. I mean, it was accidental. I'm sorry that Mr. Mitchell was in pain. He was, they popped it back in.
I know. It's so disgusting, Dan. It is sick. And his teammates who watched his eyeball pop out.
Yeah.
Are traumatized.
Oh, stop being a baby.
And Mitchell said that he's not watching the video. He refuses to see it, the replay. I wonder if he drew the foul, though.
He should watch.
Is that an over the back call?
No. That's going the other way. He should watch.
Are we in bonus?
he should watch the video of it happening with his eye popped out of the socket again to see what the experience is like.
Are you trying to make me faint? Because I feel weak-kneed right now. Don't watch the video. And if you tweet it out, shame on you. Shame on you.
He did get the New Zealand Breakers game eyeball, though.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President Lending at Pearl Mortgage and Reverse Mortgage Specialist. Reverse mortgages are outstanding for eliminating mortgage payments and providing borrowers with tax-free income. The Consumer Finance Protection Bureau recently fined AAG $400,000 for deceptive reverse mortgage ads. When choosing a reverse mortgage lender, you can either call into a call center promoted by highly paid, unlicensed actors like Tom Selleck, Pat Boone, and Henry Winkler, who have never originated a reverse mortgage, or you could call me, a licensed reverse mortgage expert who's actually originated reverse mortgages. The biggest difference between me, Tom, Pat, and Henry is they get paid to read teleprompters making reverse mortgage commercials, and I get compensated after your reverse mortgage closes. If you'd like information about reverse mortgages from a local reverse mortgage expert, give me a call at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee 4358 and MLS 19186. These materials are not from HUD or FHA and were not approved by HUD or a government agency.
How do you become America's best-selling brand? Test drive a Ford Escape and find out. With available EcoBoost power and a host of class-exclusive features designed to make life better. Compare Ford Escape next to a Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V, and the reasons start to stack up. The 2017 Escape, that's Ford. And that's how you become America's best-selling brand. Sales claim based on 2016 calendar year sales.
Hiring is the most challenging part of my job.
We started using ZipRecruiter about 3 months ago. One click and my job was posted to 200 plus job boards, all the top sites.
All of the candidates came to my dashboard, and it's easy to compare them.
And I couldn't believe the number of great applicants we got. I don't know how we hired before ZipRecruiter.
Find the best candidates with ZipRecruiter, where your job is just one click away from 200 plus job sites. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/easy-hire. That's ZipRecruiter.com/easy-hire.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, real quick, we got to get this ophthalmologist, or optometrist in, because he's got answers to my eyeball questions. Greg in Mount Prospect, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, so I'm an ophthalmic technician, so I'm basically like a PA in ophthalmology, okay?
Okay.
So Dan, I'm sorry to dash your dreams, but if your eyes were out, like pointing and like going for 360 vision,
Yeah.
Your brain would not be fusing the images. You'd have double vision. Now, if you were a duck, you'd have this kind of weird flat, two-dimensional, 360 vision. But we are predators, and our brains are designed to have fusion and depth perception. So that's why when somebody's eye, like when dude's eye is out dangling, the optic nerve's not severed, so you could actually still see from the eye.
Cool.
But you wouldn't be seeing one image. You wouldn't have this weird pantoscopic type of vision.
Could you get LASIK on the eye once it's out of the head, and would that help?
I suppose you could probably perform many different types of procedures on the eye, none of which would cause you to have excellent pantoscopic.
So I need to get that duck surgery first. I hear you, Greg. Thanks for the call.
Insert a duck brain into your head.
Yeah.
Then you can have chameleon eyes.
Got it. All right, it's a two-step process. I got it. Thanks for the call, Greg. Appreciate it.
Whew, changing gears, because coming up next, we have the one and only
former Mexican President Vicente Fox and his ongoing Twitter war and war of words with Donald Trump. He joins us at 7:37.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
27 degrees, cloudy skies. The momentum has changed in the abortion fight this year as opponents prepare for their annual march on the National Mall. Congressional Republicans vowing to end federal funding for Planned Parenthood and hope to ban most abortions after 20 weeks of pregnancy. President Donald Trump has pledged his support. Vice President Mike Pence will speak at the rally. The Trump administration appears to be backing away this morning from a call for a 20% tariff on goods imported from Mexico. That from White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus. He says it's part of a buffet of options being considered to pay for a border wall. British Prime Minister Theresa May today will become the first foreign leader to meet with President Trump.
Our two countries together have a responsibility to lead, because when others step up as we step back, it is bad for America, for Britain, and the world.
The White House get-together expected to focus on a variety of topics. Today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day. The day marked to remember Holocaust victims falls on the anniversary of the 1945 liberation of the Auschwitz death camp. Authorities are trying to figure out what caused a massive blaze that destroyed a bridal shop in Elmhurst on York Road. Firefighters battled the flames late into the evening. No injuries reported. The Illinois Senate ditching its promise to vote on a compromise budget plan by the end of the month. But the Senate president is actually warning members to be ready to take full action by early next month. And a Chicago man charged with robbing two banks in the northwest suburbs. Prosecutors say Jeremy Wood robbed two separate TCF bank branches. The first robbery Tuesday in Des Plaines. The second the following day in Schaumburg. Wood arrested while exiting the Schaumburg store. Winnipeg beat the Blackhawks 5-3. Northwestern's Wildcats keep on winning. A Big Ten basketball victory over Nebraska, 73-61. The news, a service of CC's Pizza. Now at CC's, take your taste buds on a ride with 3 new pizzas. Kansas City pulled pork barbecue, Santa Fe chicken, and the Philly cheesesteak. All 3 part of the unlimited buffet for just $5 and change. Available for a limited time only at CC's. 7:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager agrees with Donald Trump's actions.
He will confront people that nobody confronts. He has confronted a black icon. Not about his iconic statement. He has nothing to say about that. But if the man is going to announce something as despicable as announcing that this president is not a legitimate president, he needs to be called out on it. Icon doesn't mean infallible.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Everyone looks forward to the comfort of a good night's sleep. Serta iComfort Hybrid Mattress is redesigned from the inside out to provide comfort that cradles, supports, and cools. Immerse yourself in Serta iComfort Hybrid. It's comfort reimagined.
Hey, Sean Hannity here with some exciting automotive news. Nissan dealers in the Midwest are set for a record-breaking year in 2017. Now, demand is going to be way up, but room must be made at local dealerships, just like Woodfield Nissan in Hoffman Estates. And the good news for you is this is your chance to save big on all the remaining 2016 Nissans. Woodfield Nissan has a huge selection of 2016 Nissan Altimas, Sentras, and Rogues now available at clearance pricing. Get Woodfield Nissan's lowest price on a Nissan Sentra, clearance price for only $12,995. A 2016 Nissan Rogue clearance price for only $15,995, and a 2016 Nissan Altima clearance priced at $15,295. Woodfield Nissan has a massive Nissan inventory and massive Nissan savings all month long. The real 2016 Nissan year-end clearance has begun and is for a limited time at Woodfield Nissan, just 2 miles west of the Woodfield Shopping Mall at Golf and Higgins, or just go to woodfieldnissan.com.
Prices are plus tax, title, license, and doc fee and are pre-driven. Stock numbers Rogue number P9045, Altima number P9110, Sentra number P9111.
7:37. Let's check the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Like inbound Kennedy, delays start at Austin. 40 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 24. Edens, 21 minutes either way between Lake Cook and Montrose. The Eisenhower. 52 minutes Thorndale to the post office. 39 from Manheim, outbound 34 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 47 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound fine. Ryan, 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. Westbound Tri-States, though, Archer to 31st, and from the Reagan tollway to North Avenue, the other tollways are good. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Cloudy and breezy, high 31 today, 28 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We're in the process of efforting former Mexican President Vicente Fox, but in the interim, developments really with respect to a couple of Trump's first forays into geopolitical matters yesterday. One, on the positive, Theresa May, Prime Minister of England, came to Philadelphia to the GOP retreat to address the Republican leadership of Congress and, of course, the Republican president and vice president, and kind of signal a renewal of the commitment to the special relationship and to resuscitating Western leadership.
So it is my honor and privilege to stand before you today in this great city of Philadelphia, to proclaim them again, to join hands as we pick up that mantle of leadership once more, to renew our special relationship and to recommit ourselves to the responsibility of leadership in the modern world. And it is my honor and privilege to do so at this time, as dawn breaks on a new era of American renewal.
So that was on the plus side, starting out May meeting with Trump today, probably talking about, among other things, a bilateral trade agreement as England Brexits.
And do you think Trump May is going to be similar to Thatcher, Reagan, or Clinton, Blair, or FDR and Churchill?
Wow. Those are some.
These are the dynamic
Those
duos.
are some big relationships to the shoes of which to fill. So let's
baby steps. You don't want to rush into anything.
Walk before you run. See it, but I mean those were the right notes to be struck.
Yeah.
And May seems like she's a pretty strong leader too. She may have a little Iron Lady in her. So we'll see how that relationship develops. But that's off to a good start. Now, with respect to our neighbor to the south, that's a little bit more contentious as the planned arrival of Mexican President Peña Nieto has been canceled. And it seems that the reason of the cancellation is that Trump essentially said publicly that if Mexico is not interested in paying for the wall, then there's no reason for the Mexican president to come here, at which point the Mexican president canceled the trip.
Unless Mexico is going to treat the United States fairly, with respect, such a meeting would be fruitless, and I want to go a different route.
Do you admire Donald Trump for taking a stand, for not having a fruitless meeting, so to speak, as he categorized it, if he did let Nieto come to this country?
No, I wouldn't have gone that route. I don't think meeting with other heads of state, particularly allies, trading partners, is a fruitless exercise. It shouldn't be. And because of some of the hard feelings and disagreements and overheated rhetoric going in both directions, the relationship was already strained. Now, you recall during the campaign, the Mexican president invited Donald Trump down to visit with him, and that was good. And it was smart of Donald Trump to go down there and sit down, and they had a good conversation.
Yeah, and at the same time, he was saying, too, that we're going to build a wall and you're going to pay for it. So it's not like this is a new theme.
Well, of course it's not a new theme.
Right.
But the issue is saying, don't bother coming if you're not going to have your checkbook with you. A little aggressive, probably particularly publicly. And Jonah Goldberg has a good piece in townhall.com on this, where he essentially says, the history of civilization is that countries go to war over honor, even more so than they go to war over financial interests. In fact, they go to war over honor sometimes against their self-interest. He invokes the famous battle cry of the Barbary Wars in this country, millions of dollars for defense, but not a cent for tribute. In other words, we're not going to kneel down before anyone. We're not going to be subjugated. And so to put President Peña Nieto in that position, don't come if you're not going to genuflect before me on this issue solely, without a larger, we're going to discuss these issues. He knows my position. Everybody knows my position because I've been saying it for the past 18 months running for office, and I've been saying it since I was inaugurated president of the United States. You know my position. You know what I think is going to happen. We're going to talk about it. I want a relationship with Mexico. I want a relationship with the Mexican president. He invited me down there. We had a good talk, which is what Trump said at the time. I'm inviting him here. We're going to have a good talk. We're going to work together the best we can and try and navigate our disagreements. That seems to me a more sensible diplomatic approach than the ultimatum approach as your opener. My view. Take your calls for your view, 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Donald Trump has doubled down this morning.
Oh, yeah, his recent tweet.
Yeah, just 25 minutes ago. Mexico has taken advantage of the U.S. for long enough. Massive trade deficits and little help on the very weak border must change now, all caps, exclamation point. Trade deficits don't matter. So that's specious economics. In terms of Trump's position about border security, he has every right. Every right. That's what he said he was going to do. That's what people support.
Fine.
And it's the responsibility of the federal government.
I mean, seriously, why should Mexicans have to pay for a wall they don't want? That's what I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around. Now, he said, 20% in Mexican imported goods that he charged them. So that means for us, it's going to be passed off on the consumer because the avocados, fruits and vegetables and cars and TVs and appliances are imported from Mexico to the United States.
This is not about make. This is not at the point of a gun. This is something that should be negotiated. One of the examples of this actually happened not so long ago. Canada agreed to pay for the new Detroit-Windsor Bridge, U.S. Customs building, and access roads around the bridge in 2015. Ottawa failed to get the U.S. to pay for the $250 million customs building. The Canadian government had already agreed to pay for 95% of the bridge's costs. The bridge is scheduled to be finished in 2020.
Yeah, they need a new bridge.
And this despite the fact that in 2012, the former Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper insisted the customs building was the responsibility of the U.S. government. Washington, D.C. said only the U.S. would operate and staff the building, not pay for it, and Canada caved. So that's negotiating to a particular end, and that's what the Obama administration did with Canada. We're friendly with Canada. We can be similarly friendly with Mexico and disagree on particular terms on particular projects. as was the case here. But to eliminate the possibility of conversation, to make this more confrontational than it needs to be, I just don't think is productive. Because there are other issues besides the wall. Think drug cartels and violent crime that radiates up to places like Chicago. Take some of your calls. Ann in Chicago, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Okay, thank you for taking my call. And the main thing is that I'm glad he's mad, and I hope he keeps everybody else. He doesn't let anybody else come here too. The thing is that it's going to cost the consumers more. But one man said, as long as I have a job, I don't mind paying a little bit more. So things made in the United States. So, these groups, these Mayentas and all these Nijentas, how come we don't have any groups like that? I mean, we never protest. We're humble. And so I'm glad somebody's speaking up to Mexico.
All right, thanks for the call, Ann. Jimmy on the Kennedy, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, Donald Trump is usually used to negotiating, maybe with equal people with leverage. He's got all the leverage. Mexico exports 80% of their product to the U.S. They are beholden to us. And if we put any kind of tariff and those companies start going over here, it's going to decimate them. So he's taken out his tough position. In Mexico, they're yelling and crying. They have no recourse.
Well,
they're going to have to acquiesce or go home.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for the call, Jimmy. Here's the thing. Here's the thing to remember, because this is where this leads, and I think it leads to an unproductive place. We want Mexico to be successful. We don't want to punish Mexican consumers, and we don't want to punish U.S. consumers. Mexico's success means they're less dependent, more independent, less dependent on America, means they can get a handle on things like violent drug cartels that corrupt their government, means they can get a handle on things like the massive outmigration of Mexicans to this country. So the idea of leveraging for the purpose of punishment ends up being a little bit of nose cutting in spite of your face, doesn't it? We want them to be successful. We want that country to be successful.
Right.
We want Mexican families to be successful. So that's why I say the more sensible play is to engage and negotiate. Look, if Trump wants to renegotiate particular terms of NAFTA and figure a creative way where Mexico kind of indirectly underwrites the remaining costs of the wall for monies that Congress hasn't already appropriated, okay, well, let's do it that way. Why does it have to be reality TV, world wrestling kind of back and forth? It's not productive. It's not the path to the outcome that I think we desire. That's what I'm saying.
But Donald Trump loves conflict and loves attention, and I think that's one of the reasons why he put off the meeting.
Well, he's president of the United States.
Yeah.
He's not going to need to do a lot to garner attention. Everything he says and does,
learning process. Yeah.
Everything he says and does is going to receive international attention, and he knows that. This is something else, and I just don't think it's the smartest path to the desired outcomes as stated. Bill on the West Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. What I think is that if businesses start manufacturing in the United States again, that our innovation and our productivity are going to cause the cost to go down. And because we have no desire, we're not doing it right now, we haven't been productive, we haven't been innovative. That's what I think, and that we will compete with other countries in manufacturing again.
All right, thanks for the call. That was Scott from the West Side, excuse me. Also, Mexico is not without access to the rest of the world, too. If we can't come to terms on things like trade agreements, if we have this relationship disintegrate, Mexico could decide to form a strategic partnership with other adversaries of the United States in so many ways, like China. They have access to the rest of the world, too.
Right.
I think you need to think a couple of steps down the road with some of this rhetorical saber rattling that's going on. Chip in St. Charles.
Standing up to your enemies is hard, but standing up to your friends is even harder. And if that's what you have to do sometimes when they're wrong, that's what you have to do. And that's kind of the way I see what's going on.
Is public shaming is basically saying, to Peña Nieto, you come here, but come with your checkbook or don't come at all publicly? You think that's standing up, or is that unnecessary braggadocio?
I think it's standing up to, you know what, people don't always understand Donald Trump. I think he talks above all of us. And we all have a little bit of a hard time kind of understanding him, and I think that's a big part of his problem is that he's actually like 4 steps ahead of all of us. And he understands what's going on with Mexico, and he understands it's been going on with Mexico for a long time. This is a long time coming. This isn't just happening now. This has to do with everything that's been going on with Mexico for years. We need them to step it up. We need them to have a legitimate government instead of a criminal enterprise going on down there. And if this is what we have to do to kind of turn things around, so be it.
All right, thanks, Chip. Tom in Schaumburg.
Morning. Mexicans have been breaking into this country since Ronald Reagan and before. I can recall not even one Mexican president trying to stop this procedure. In fact, some reports say that they have actually encouraged this. The actual cost to the American taxpayer has been reported on an annual basis of nearly $200 billion in social services paid out to illegal aliens. And now we're asking for at least some compensation, and they're outraged? Give me a break. Come on. What do they want us to do? Label them as a bunch of parasites and shame them, or just ask them for some compensation for the wall? I don't believe they're outraged, and we shouldn't back down. We should demand that they pay at least something for all the money that we have paid out. What do we have? We have about 10,000 illegal alien children in schools at $15,000 apiece, and the costs just go on and on and on. And
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
And we want to say thanks to each and every one of you who helped us to reach our goal of providing food for a year and water for life for 2,000 kids and counting in Haiti and Guatemala.
Your generosity means that these children will have a shot at living a happy and healthy life despite the enormous challenges they face.
And just because the Christmas season is over and we're starting a new year, that doesn't mean the need has gone away. You can still make a difference in the life of a child by making a $50 donation to Food for the Poor. Food for the Poor is one of America's largest and most trusted charities. Since 1982, they've been helping the poorest of the poor by directing resources directly to those in the greatest need.
Just call 855-880-3663. That's 855-880-FOOD, or go to 560theanswer.com, keyword food.
And thanks to the many business benefactors who supported this campaign, when you hear their ads on the radio station this year, we'd ask that you support their businesses as a way of thanking them for their generosity.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I'm telling you right now, it's awesome. I was trying to get my blood pressure regulated, okay? And like after 3 days of taking this thing, my blood pressure went back down to normal. I am ecstatic. I am so happy with this stuff. It is my savior.
This was the first summer that I have not had to have a steroid shot to help me to breathe.
The reason why I'm taking it because I've got Hep C. Once I began taking your stuff, it took a few months, but believe it or not, my liver enzymes are way down and it's normal now. It works.
The new challenge will allow you to receive 2 months of Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies free. And we'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code CHICAGO.
It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life,
but I should have ordered it like 15 years ago.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity. If we've learned one thing from Obama, speechifying doesn't bring the country together, create jobs, or reverse barbaric cultural trends. And so Trump's unity signaling inaugural address was quickly followed by a protest march of grumpy old women and their wives, to which Susan B. Anthony would not have been welcome. If we've learned one thing from the confirmation hearings of Trump cabinet nominees, the ungracious, vituperative left plans to scold, shame, and bigot bait its way back to power. Comrade Bernie insinuated that Betsy DeVos was too rich to be education secretary, whereas he resisted such class envy politics when billionaire Penny Pritzker was up to be Obama's commerce secretary. Massachusetts Senator Pocahontas Crockett-Jewia was so insulted by DeVos's commitment to educating poor minority children that she waved off an attempted handshake so she could rush over to harangue Dr. Tom Price at his confirmation hearing. Speaking of Price, Comrade Bernie used his allotted time with the incoming HH secretary to explain that America lacks the compassion of Brunei because the government hasn't formally nationalized the health insurance industry. And these are the leading lights of the left. If that remains the case, it's lights out for the Democrats.
Hey, if you aren't getting a great night's sleep, why not get a MyPillow today and start the year off right? MyPillow has a patented interlocking fill that adjusts to your individual sleep needs. It's washable, dryable, made in the good old US of A, and guaranteed not to go flat for 10 years. The new year is here, so I suggest you resolve to sleep better and feel better. And the best offer is still available. When you buy one MyPillow, you'll receive another MyPillow absolutely free, plus those 2 free Go Anywhere pillows. You're guaranteed to be satisfied. So visit MyPillow.com, click the radio listener special tab, and use the promo code Amy. Again, 2 premium MyPillows, 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, all for the price of one. So start the year off right. MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
Cashcasters.com is a unique online marketplace where you make cash offers for products or professional services you would like to buy or use. Do you need extra cash or have items or professional services you'd like to sell online, or would you like to post an online cash offer for products or professional services? Then sign up today at Cashcasters.com. It's easy. People offer their products or professional services to you based on your cash offer. Simply post any item you'd like for free, along with a minimum price you are willing to accept. Every time you post, Cashcasters automatically sends your offer to all matching cash offers. It's always free to post products, so post as many as you would like, or make a cash offer on any product or professional service you desire. Be one of the first 200 people to either make a cash offer or post a product, and you will automatically be registered to win a 10-inch Samsung Galaxy tablet. Full details at Cashcasters.com. Sign up now to catch a deal today. Visit Cashcasters.com. That's Cashcasters.com.
A couple years ago, I had a severe accident which disabled my right hand and caused chronic pain and complete suffering. It took many years before really we figured out exactly what it was or how to treat it. My whole goal was I did not want to be on high levels of pain medicine. After some time, I went to see Dr. Kenneth Candido to try to figure out the source of the pain and a solution and how to solve it. He listens. I'm going to cry because it's so real. I've been through so much, and he wants to help his patients, and he's there for me whenever I need him.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. I have a simple message for you. If you or someone you love or someone you know has chronic pain, contact us. Treating chronic pain issues is what we do. We can make it better. Get an appointment and let's talk. MyPainChicago.com, MyPainChicago.com. All the info is available at MyPainChicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
AM 560, The Answer.
27 degrees, cloudy skies, and at 7:59, here are the stories we're following at this hour. Fire destroys an Elmhurst bridal shop. Senate leaders set a February deadline for a budget bargain, and a Big Ten win for Northwestern. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. Mexico has taken advantage of the U.S. long enough. That's what President Trump has just tweeted.
We have a massive trade deficit with Mexico. We give Mexico money. We subsidize things in Mexico. It's a one-way street.
The president told Fox's Sean Hannity last night he'll build a serious wall. The Trump administration is considering a border tax on Mexican imports to fund it. The president also tweeted about the election, writing he's looking forward to seeing final results of Vote Stand, an organization investigating claiming at least 3 million votes were illegal. Today, the president hosts a world leader. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
The president will welcome British Prime Minister Theresa May to the White House. Then later today, it's off to the Pentagon, where Mr. Trump will lay out his goal for defeating ISIS. The president told Fox's Sean Hannity that his number one military priority is defeating the terror group.
The people that we're going against, they don't wear uniforms. They're sneaky, dirty rats.
The president also revisited the issue of torture, saying that he believes methods such as waterboarding are effective, but he said he would follow the advice of Defense Secretary James Mattis, who's argued against the use of such tactics. Dave?
John, the president will talk tomorrow by phone to Russia's president and the leaders of France and Germany. Could it have been like Columbine? A Florida school shooting may be planned for today, thwarted. Fox's Tanya J. Powers is on the case live.
Dave, Sumter County, Florida sheriff's officials say Columbine was exactly what the 13 and 14-year-old boys had in mind when discussing an attack at the village's charter middle school. The 13-year-old was questioned when he arrived at school Wednesday. The 14-year-old was questioned when he mentioned the 1999 school shooting that killed 12 students and a teacher at the Colorado high school. Guns were found at their home when they were arrested, Dave.
Tanya, the economy slowed down at the end of last year, more than expected. Fourth quarter GDP growth slipped to just 1.9%. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
.27 degrees, cloudy skies, 8:02 is our time on AM 560. The Answer, good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Authorities are still trying to figure out what may have caused a blaze that destroyed a treasure in Elmhurst, a bridal shop, VIP occasions. Officials say the blaze began in a building on North York that housed VIP occasions. Firefighters battled the flames late into the evening. No injuries. The sisters that owned that bridal shop for 25 years were not in the building. Illinois Attorney General Lisa Madigan seeking to stop state worker pay until legislators and Governor Bruce Rauner approve a spending plan. She filed that motion in a St. Clair County Circuit Court. Meantime, the Illinois Senate, for the moment, ditching its promise to vote on a compromise budget plan by the end of the month, but the Senate president and Republican leader warning members to be ready to take action by early next month. A federal jury returned a not guilty verdict for a Chicago woman accused of supplying her teenage cousin with a gun. Authorities say the girl used to kill a 14-year-old rival after a Facebook feud over a boy. Vendetta Redwood was charged with giving that handgun to a juvenile, knowing it would be used to commit violence in that 2014 shooting. Chicago sports, Winnipeg beat the Blackhawks 5-3. A Big Ten basketball win for Chris Collins and Northwestern, 73-61 over Nebraska. It's 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network and a service of Turnkey.pro. Here's Jenny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Volkswagen's former chief executive, Martin Winterkorn, is being investigated in Germany. German prosecutors believe he may have known sooner than he has admitted that the company was cheating on emissions tests. Volkswagen admitted in September of 2015 that the company used software to cheat on emissions, and Winterkorn resigned. The executive board claimed it didn't find out until the month before. Toothpaste and beauty products maker Colgate-Palmolive reported a profit in its recent quarter after losing money a year ago, though Wall Street was expecting an even stronger quarter. Takeout was a success for Olive Garden. Now Chili's is trying it, and its executives say it's starting to catch on. Now more than 10% of the sales at Chili's are takeout. The Dow closed up 32 points yesterday to a record. The Nasdaq and the S&P both dropped about a point. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
You need to understand that the way you build wealth is you do not use the evening news or CNN or Fox to set the tone of your emotions around your investing.
The Dave Ramsey Show.
If you're thinking of changing your investing patterns because you're watching the news, you need to turn off the news. You are in charge of your destiny.
Dave Ramsey. Weeknights starting at 7. Presented by Wintrust Community Bank on AM 560. The Answer.
Make the big football game on Super Sunday extra special this year by enjoying a fabulous microbrew. And the best way to get that microbrew is by heading to Sal's. Sal's Beverage World offers an extensive selection of hard-to-find beers and wines from around the world in every spirit imaginable. And unlike your grocer, Sal's offers expert advice on choosing the right beer, wine, or spirit at a great price. When you want more than just ordinary, stop in at Sal's in Elmhurst, Addison, or Villa Park, and you'll find it. You can also order online at salsbeverageworld.com. Mention AM560 and get a 20% discount on the regular price beers or wines for the big football game on Sunday. Don't settle on the usual from your local grocers. You could find yourself saying, that's not bad, instead of, that's perfect. Get it right at Sal's Beverage World. That's Sal's Beverage World in Elmhurst, Addison, and Villa Park.
The U.S. economy has been getting stronger, and home values have been increasing. This good economic news presents a unique financial opportunity for you. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Many of our clients have been taking cash out of their homes, a strategy that might work for you. The smart move is to refinance your mortgage right now with Quicken Loans. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.18%, APR 4.35%. Call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN to see how much we can lower your mortgage payment. For 7 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. And for the third year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in the nation for mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
8:07. Let's get an update on the roads. Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center time. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Edens is light. 19 minutes like Cook to Montrose, outbound 21. Inbound Kennedy delays start at Irving Park. 42 minutes O'Hare to downtown. 32 from Montrose. 30 in the Express. Outbound 26 to O'Hare. So Lawrence to Sayre. Eisenhower. It's an hour. Thorndale to downtown. A stall at California. Just move to the right shoulder. Outbound 36 minutes. Stevenson 55 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Ryan 27 minutes. 95th to downtown. On Tri-State heavy from the Stevenson to 47th, the Reagan Tollway to the Eisenhower, Veterans Memorial, 63rd to the Reagan Tollway. Traffic service of Little Caesars, where you can enjoy 5 tasty items at $5 each. Little Caesars, where you can enjoy 5 items at $5 each. It's real quality and value from Little Caesars. They're hot and ready every day from 4 to 8. You could feed a whole group with their 5 items at $5 each. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, here's meteorologist Michael Stack.
Breezy with cloudy skies today, high 31. Breezy this evening with mostly cloudy skies tonight, low 24. A bit cloudy Saturday, high 31. Cloudy skies on your Sunday with a couple snow showers, high 29. A bit of snow late Monday, high 29. I'm Michael Stack on AM 560, The Answer.
27 at O'Hare, 29 along the lakefront. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business and jobs powered by Tandem HR. Heard Sunday evenings at 6.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. A couple of notes here. One, apologies. Vicente Fox extends his apologies as well, former Mexican president. We're supposed to have him at the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour. He had some connectivity issues at his ranch, which he also had with CNN, so it's nothing personal. We've rescheduled him for 7:37 on Monday, so you want to
Great.
Take judicial notice of that.
I will take judicial notice.
Yes. Second
judicial notice.
Second thing, a bit of breaking news. Donald Trump, we know that Vice President Pence is going to be the first vice president to speak at the March for Life, the festivities that kick off today. Donald Trump, like previous Republican pro-life presidents like George W. Bush and Reagan, is also going to call in.
Oh, okay.
So that's a new update, too. So he is going to call in. And he's also had a busy week of signing executive orders, and that is not letting up today. NPR's Mara Liasson reporting that Trump is expected to sign a series of executive orders related to national security and refugees as early as today.
Really?
Yeah. And we've talked about this a little bit in terms of what was being telegraphed. Liasson reports that the actions will include a 120-day moratorium on any new refugees entering the United States to give the government time to come up with a plan for vetting, which is what he said, extreme vetting, radical vetting. But in addition to that, a plan that prioritizes Christians suffering from religious persecution in places like the Middle East, where Christians are the victims of genocide in Iraq and Syria. Another action that's anticipated would indefinitely block new Syrian refugees from entering the United States. Indefinitely block. There will be a 30-day ban on immigration from 7 countries with predominantly Muslim populations: Iran, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, and Sudan. So that's immigration, so that's visas and specifically. But an indefinite block on Syrian refugees, separate and distinct from those seeking visa. This would be those seeking asylum, right?
But aren't some of those Syrians Christians? Or could there be some Christians in the mix?
Sure, right. But
some conversions going on.
But this goes back to the ability to vet.
Yeah.
That's what this is predicated on. But the idea of a focus on Christians that are the victims of genocide, that seems to me appropriate. And it's not a religious, it's not that radical Islamic terrorists haven't killed tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Muslims too. They have. But when you have a declaration that genocide is being committed, there's a duty, I think, a moral duty for the United States to intervene in some important way. Because when we don't, we have body counts like we've seen in Rwanda.
Mm-hmm.
That comes to mind, of course. And I don't think we want to stand idly by when that kind of slaughter happens, whether it's in Rwanda or to Christians, Sudan, or Christians in Iraq and Syria specifically. So that's it. The Associated Press is also reporting that the Trump will order the Pentagon and State Department to come up with a plan to provide safe zones in Syria and the surrounding region for Syrians denied visas to enter the U.S., at least during this kind of détente period, if you will.
Yeah, remember when we had KT McFarland on, and she said a great idea for Trump would be to have or create safe zones inside Syria, and it looks like that's going to come to fruition.
So that's those more Trump action on immigration and refugee policy, asylum. Take your calls on that, particularly with respect to the making specific the prioritization of Christians that are being persecuted. 312-642-5600 turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA turnkey.pro text line. In addition to that, you have the impact of Trump's pronouncements earlier this week with respect to sanctuary cities, and that there will be a financial price to be paid for digging in with the sanctuary city designation and continuing to refuse to work constructively with federal law enforcement, particularly immigration and customs enforcement, and the enforcement of federal immigration law. The response has been dig in by the likes of a Tiny Dancer and de Blasio, right? Yeah. The response from Miami-Dade, a little bit different. Miami-Dade Mayor Carlos Jimenez on Thursday ordering county jails to comply with federal immigration detention requests, which essentially walks back the county's sanctuary city status that has been in effect for 3 years. Mayor Jimenez saying, in light of the provisions of the executive order, I direct your staff to honor all immigration detainer requests received from the Department of Homeland Security. Boy, a little bit of leadership and attach a little bit of penalty to it. And different people make different decisions. It's very interesting. And it's the posture that Trump has taken. And some governors are taking, like Greg Abbott in Texas, who's in a similar space, basically the same dynamic between Greg Abbott at the state level and a sheriff in Austin who wants to remain sanctuary city, and he's saying, well, you're going to lose state grant money to your sheriff's department if you do that. You want to stand on what you say is your principle? Great. Good luck with that. Money's not coming.
Well, it's going to be interesting because ABC 7's reporting that we receive $1.5 billion in grants to be a sanctuary city. And you reported $5 billion. But Mayor Emanuel, he's doubling down.
I believe firmly as it relates to Dreamers. These are kids who came to the United States not on their own will, their parents brought them, who are going to college, playing by the rules and doing right, and came forward with their name and their basic information at the request of the government. There shouldn't be a bait and switch. And Dreamers are actually committed to the American dream.
He thinks sanctuary cities are all about protecting the dreamers.
He doesn't think anything on the topic. He could care less. And you know how I know he could care less?
How?
Because when he was chief of staff for President Obama, he was the one that said, don't move on comprehensive immigration reform.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So he's a liar. Here's what Tiny Dancer is doing. And if you don't understand this, then, you know, there's just no reaching some people, I suppose.
But you can't stop trying, Dan.
No, I mean, you know, you can't.
Your approach is different than my approach.
One starfish at a time, and you can't throw them all back in the sea, I suppose. Some are going to die on the beach. This is just about Rahm Emanuel's political survival. Everything he does, always, is with respect to his political viability and access to political power, period, full stop. That's it. Doesn't matter. To pick a policy area, he doesn't care. Doesn't matter, except as you examine it through that prism of how does this
make me look,
protect me,
yeah,
or enhance my power and access to it. This is all about 2019.
Yeah. And he wouldn't even admit, you know, that some people come to sanctuary cities to hide after they've committed a crime because they know that they'll be safe here. Didn't admit that. No, that's not going on.
One thing that's interesting and will come to be very instructive because in the coming days and weeks and months, one of the other things that Trump did with his executive order on sanctuary cities is direct the Department of Homeland Security to create a reporting mechanism for crimes committed by persons who are here illegally. So
I can't believe they don't already have that in place.
Well, but it's to gather that information and report it regularly, so we don't have rely on the press corps to tell the one-off stories about Kate Steinle and others who have been victimized by violent predators who shouldn't be in this country. And everybody agrees, and yet obviously until Trump got here, we'll see what he does, but nothing much has been done about it. And then we've talked about this year after year after year, hearings year after year after year. Ted Cruz and ICE Director Saldana last year and the year before that talking about the tens of thousands of those who have been caught and released, the excuses of you can't return them to their home country because their home country won't take them. All that stuff is by the boards, but that reporting mechanism is really important because it provides information that can be shared that is tangible. Real people, not data points, not statistics. Kate Steinle, her murder really crystallized this issue of sanctuary cities.
We'll put a face on the issue.
Right, and put heat on hack politicians, whether it's the left-wingers in San Francisco or the left-wingers in Chicago. So that's a very interesting piece, and we'll amplify it on this show because that's part of the discussion.
I like when you call them champagne socialists better.
Oh, instead of leftists.
Because the champagne was flowing.
Champagne socialists, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, champagne socialists.
All right, thank you.
John in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, boy, I don't know about the rest of the listeners, but it's just outrageous that now we're going to start following the law.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, that illegal aliens are going to have to go back to their country. Next thing you know, people who have illegally are going to have to stay in jail. What's going on around here?
It's a lot of loose talk, John. There's no question about it. Dennis in Crystal Lake.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Amy, I heard that. Hey, but anyways, hey, you tell this little runt of a mayor, this self-hating Jew, I spent 20 years in the military. I can't pass my benefits on to my children. They can't even get a grant. And they're worried about these dreamers that swim across with their little parents. I want these kids out of here.
Okay, Dennis.
I don't.
Thanks for the call.
And that's
Dennis.
not on the high priority list for deportations.
Well, that's right.
Which people should know, and I know
That's
it's been
right.
discussed, but it came up again 2 days ago, too, that the Dreamers are safe, according to Sean Spicer and Donald Trump himself.
That's right. The fear-mongering about that is coming from hack politicians, champagne socialists, like Tiny Dancer. The fact is, the focus is on violent criminals who've been adjudicated, convicted violent criminals who don't belong in this country, who are here illegally. I say again, and I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, everybody agrees. President Obama talked about it ad nauseum when the issue of immigration and national security would be raised with him. And what was done about it? Nothing. And you can't have the substantive conversation you want to have about people that are trying to make a better life for themselves in this country and are, Byzantine and conflicted immigration legal regime. You can't get there if you can't keep that basic promise to the American people. And Trump is right to start there and build from there. And then you can get to like a substantive dialogue where some compromises will be made and we rethink how we do immigration in this country to make sure it is consistent with our values as a nation of immigrants, to make sure we are admitting those who want to add value both to the country and for themselves and their families. And we're weeding out those who want to do harm or just kind of exist here because of the welfare state, the relatively generous welfare state benefits. And there's nothing wrong with that conversation, but it's just a very difficult time to get there because of all these ancillary issues. Mike in Winfield, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan. I just wanted to bring up an issue about back in 1995, Bill Clinton brought up the issue of immigration and had to reason on why they need to take care of it and how serious it was. And of course, he didn't get bashed for it, but now Trump's taking it to, I think, maybe to a higher level. But he's doing exactly what Bill Clinton had brought up, but he's getting bashed as a racist. It's been problems long before we've been alive. Of course, me, but I just can't understand why it's like one man can talk about it, but the next man that brings it up, he's racist. I can't stand liberal assholes that.
Oh, hello. Okay, thanks for the call, Mike from Winfield, Indiana. We caught that.
Keep it clean.
Let's try champagne socialists.
Yeah.
Instead of liberal, whatever he said. But his point is well taken. It's the situational ethics of the left on the topic, like on so many topics. By the way, it was Winfield, Indiana, where I'm emigrating to.
Oh, really?
Maybe. Mike in Antioch.
Yeah, good morning, Dan and Amy. And Dan, I just love your political acumen.
No, thank you.
As an original April 2005 Minuteman in which George Bush classified us as vigilantes, I am happy to pay tax dollars to build that wall just for the sake of saving lives from drug overdoses. For the first time in our history, 2015, 50,000 young people died of overdoses, and 80% of those hard drugs come from Mexico. And that's all I got to say. Build that wall.
All right. Thanks for the call, Mike.
Good point.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Forecast today, cloudy, breezy, a high of 31 degrees. Your weekend looks cloudy and cold. A flurry around here on Saturday, a high of 31. And on Sunday, could have a couple of snow showers, a high of 29 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
Amy, on the inbound Kennedy, delays start at Irving Park. It's 50 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 40 from Montrose, 33 in the Express. Outbound, 24 minutes to the airport. Little slow central to Sayre. Edens is delay-free. The Ike, an hour and 3 minutes. Thorndale to downtown at 47 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 33 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 56 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound is 5. Rye at 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive is very heavy from Hollywood to North Avenue. Northbound Tri-State delays from Stevenson to 47 from the Reagan-Silva to the Eisenhower. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Balance of Nature is celebrating its 20th anniversary by providing you the best offer they've ever given. 2 free months of fruits and veggies and free shipping. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Are you facing foreclosure, been foreclosed upon, in a bad modification, or just stuck in a bad mortgage? Well, we may be able to help you. My name is Lou Bridges. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Lou Bridges & Associates. We've been helping distressed homeowners like you for over 8 years now. We defend foreclosure actions. We bring claims against the banks and the servicers for wrongful foreclosure and other violations of mortgage servicing regulations. And we help people negotiate modifications of their existing mortgages, often including principal reductions. Give us a call. We provide free consultations. I guarantee you it will not be a sales pitch. We will give you our honest analysis, counsel, and advice regarding your options.
Hi, this is Rayanne from Lou Bridges & Associates. I am one of the loan modification processors here, and if you are in need of any additional information in regard to a loan modification, please contact the office.
Go to bridgeslaw.net or call 224-513-1231. That's 224-513-1231.
Remember, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, and I guarantee you'll never be alone.
AM 560, The Answer.
So it turns out that Trump is bad for one business sector, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to say.
Oh, is it Tiffany's near the Trump Tower in New York? Because their business has gone down because of all the media.
No, and he's bad for this business sector, and it's no fault of his own.
What is it?
Gun stocks have plunged since the election of Donald Trump. Stock prices for Sturm Ruger, Smith & Wesson both dropped by more than 20% since Trump won. This despite Dow 20,000. So I'm not blaming Trump. It's just worth noting because you don't have Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton, who are the best salesmen in the country for gun manufacturers and gun shops, and people see that their Second Amendment rights are more secure than they have been for at least the past 8 years. The stocks, in case you own them, are trailing off. So maybe time to get out of Smith Wesson and Sturm and Ruger, but not necessarily time to stop buying weapons. You need to take the CCW class and get a piece for personal protection.
Yeah, I had a piece, then I didn't have a piece, then I had a piece, then I didn't have a piece. So where am I now? Ooh, I don't tell anybody if I have one or not.
Little ankle holster.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
You may not be aware of the term fiduciary, but if you are working with a financial professional, it's important to know what it means. A firm that operates under a fiduciary standard has the duty by law to put the client's best interest first. Kelly Financial Services is bound by this standard and must choose the best investment products available and have a reason for recommending them. Financial professionals who work for a brokerage or an insurance company are only held to a suitability standard. Kelly Financial Services works on a fee basis. That gives us incentive to grow your portfolio because our interests are aligned with yours. Call John Herron and our team at Kelly Financial Services. Our number is 708-576-8999. Again, that's 708-576-8999. Kelly Financial Services.
Hi, I'm Todd Pals, owner of Homewood Bat Company, a top quality baseball bat made right here in the Chicagoland area. Homewood Bat Company is all about using the best in materials and craftsmanship to create a truly remarkable baseball bat. I've been a client of Precision Payroll for a number of years, and when I started the Homewood Bat Company, I wanted them on my team. From working with me when I had 1,200 employees at another company, and now with less than 50, their service has been exceptional and their value is unrivaled. You want more runs in the game? Give Homewood Bat Company a look. You need a home run for your business? Precision Payroll should be the next call you make.
Thank you, Todd. It is so cool to see you make Americana. Precision Payroll would like to go to bat for you. Call me at 630-242-1507. That's 630-242-1507. Or on the web at precisionpayroll.com.
Hey, there's a lot of talk right now about school choice. Well, if you've always felt like you didn't really have a choice to send your kids to a private school because of the cost, then listen up. We want to tell you about halfpriceschools.com. At halfpriceschools.com, you can find local private schools from all over the Chicagoland area that are offering vouchers for a full year of tuition at, you guessed it, half the price with no catch. Find a school near you, purchase this tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school next fall. It's that simple. Halfpriceschools.com has schools located all across Chicago, as I mentioned, Romeoville, Chicago, Downers Grove, Arlington Heights. So make private schools a real option for your family for the first time this year. But don't wait. These vouchers will sell out. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
And coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I don't know if I should believe. 708 says, don't dump the gun stocks. Demand is still extremely strong. I'm going to have to talk to my guy about that. Coming up, we're going to talk to another guy. His name is Eugene Volokh. He's a UCLA law professor. We're going to preview the finalists for the Supreme Court nomination and who Professor Volokh thinks is going to secure it when Trump announces it on Thursday.
And it's not too late to do something fun this weekend. Sox Fest is this week, and we'll have the president of Guaranteed Rate, Scott Stephen, on. But now let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, British Prime Minister Theresa May in Washington, already attending services at Arlington National Cemetery, laying a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns. May today became the first foreign leader to meet with President Trump. May and Trump will hold a joint news conference later today. The White House now says a proposed 20% tariff on Mexican imports is just part of a buffet of options available to pay for a border wall. Pro-life marchers are in the nation's capital today for their annual March for Life. They will use the event to speak out against the 1973 Roe v. Wade Supreme Court ruling establishing a woman's right to an abortion. Vice President Mike Pence is scheduled to personally address the march. Authorities are still trying to figure out a cause of a fire that destroyed a bridal shop in Elmhurst. The blaze began yesterday in a building on York Road that housed VIP occasions. Cameras will not be allowed at a court hearing today that begins for 4 people charged in the Facebook Live torture case. Cook County judge issued that ruling yesterday, citing safety and security concerns. The suspects are accused of beating then torturing a special needs man this month inside an apartment on Chicago's west side. Again, that attack was live streamed on Facebook. Chicago sports, Winnipeg beat the Blackhawks 5-3. A Big Ten basketball win for Northwestern over Nebraska, 73-61. The news, a service of Little Caesars, where you can enjoy 5 tasty items at $5 each. Little Caesars, where you can enjoy those 5 items at $5 each, real quality and value from Little Caesars, and they're hot and ready every day from 4 to 8. You could feed a whole group with their 5 items at $5 each. 8:33, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher has a message for a Trump critic.
I don't see the president-elect as a legitimate president.
Georgia Congressman John Lewis, I say this with all the respect in my heart that I have for his life and his legacy and his sacrifices. You don't get a pass, Congressman Lewis, and you're going to kick Donald Trump in the shins. He's going to kick you back.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois. Last winter was pretty much a piece of cake, but this winter, we're told, is gonna be a doozy.
Well, the Farmer's Almanac forewarns that bitterly cold, if not downright frigid, numbing cold weather will be predominating over these parts this winter.
Not looking good, but you can be ready. Smart businesses rely on Air Comfort to keep them and their customers warm this expected frigid winter. Air Comfort is one of the largest commercial and industrial service groups in the Chicago area, with dedicated factory-trained technicians that take a scientific approach to analyzing your system. They have comprehensive year-round preventative maintenance programs and emergency service, plus design, build, and install equipment for new construction and retrofits of existing mechanical systems. Now is a great time to call Air Comfort and schedule an analysis of your company's mechanical system by their certified award-winning engineering team. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
8:35. Let's get a check of the roads in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On westbound I-80, traffic is stop and go from Parker Road to US 30, where there's a crash in the left lane. The Edens Expressway is delay-free. Kennedy inbound at Lawrence got a crash in the right lane. It's really bottled up from Irving Park to the Hubbard Tunnel. 46 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 25, it's Los Central to Harlem. Eisenhower delay start at St. Charles. It's 59 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. 44 from Manheim. Outbound 32 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 54 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, clear outbound. Bryan, 33 minutes, 95 to downtown. Outbound it's 5. Lakeshore Drive, southbound delays from Lawrence to North Avenue and 18th to the Stevenson. North on Tri-State, heavy at 290. The other tollways are fine. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Cloudy and breezy. High near 31. Cloudy, breezy 24 overnight. Currently 28. Next news at 9, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Turnkey IT, giving you the freedom to focus on your business while they handle the technical stuff. Turnkey IT.
Let not your heart be troubled. Listen to me, Sean Hannity. I'll have the latest news and what it all means for you. It's coming up at 2 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, this is fascinating as we're getting down under a week to the announcement of Trump's Supreme Court nominee to fill the vacancy left by Scalia's death last year. Saying they're down to 3 finalists. At least this is being widely reported. We don't really know, of course. And Trump was asked about them in general terms, as well as the so-called nuclear option, whether he thinks Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell should use it if he needs to in the confirmation hearing when Trump sat down with Sean Hannity last night.
Chuck Schumer, 2 questions on that. One, will it be from the list that you gave out during the campaign?
The answer is yes.
Will it be an originalist?
I don't want to say that. You're going to see on Thursday.
Have you made your decision?
I have made my decision pretty much in my mind, yes.
Next
question.
question.
It's subject to change at the last moment.
No,
but,
there's the caveat.
I think
Yes.
this will be a great choice.
I've made my decision unless I change my mind.
Chuck Schumer, others threatening, we've never had a Supreme Court justice filibustered, but there's a chance that might happen.
Hey,
if that
whatever
happens,
happens.
would you want Mitch McConnell to use the nuclear option?
Yes, I would.
You would?
I would.
Yep, and he's right about that. The drama of this is interesting, the intrigue of trying to figure this out, because the 3 are all appellate court justices. You've got Neil Gorsuch out of the Third Circuit in Denver. You've got Tom Hardiman, the 10th. Did I have that right? No, Neil Gorsuch, 10th Circuit in Denver. Hardiman, Third Circuit in Pennsylvania. And Bill Pryor, the 11th Circuit in Alabama. Hardiman serves with Trump's sister.
Oh.
Okay. Pryor is former Alabama Attorney General, hails from Jeff Sessions' home state. And then...
what about Neil?
Well, Gorsuch is rumored to be the front runner. So trying to distill the who, what, where, and why, and if there is substantial differences between the 3 potential nominees, is reading tea leaves type of business. But let's see if we can get a little bit more informed opinion on these gentlemen and the process. We're pleased to be joined by Eugene Volokh. He writes a great blog called The Volokh Conspiracy. You should check out. It's Volokh, Volokh Conspiracy blog. And he's also a law professor at UCLA. Professor Volokh, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
much my pleasure. Always very much my pleasure.
And so, of the three gentlemen I mentioned, if you believe that that's the universe from which Trump is selecting, they do have some things in common. One of them that's attractive, regardless of the nominee, is that they're all young. Late 40s, early 50s. So, in all likelihood, they'll be on the court for many years to come.
Yeah, that's the weird system we have with life tenure. Life tenure has many advantages, but one disadvantage is that it gives presidents a very strong incentive to appoint someone in large measure because they'll be on the court for perhaps 30, 35 years. And that might mean that you don't have that somebody who is excellent, but say 60, doesn't get the appointment. It's an odd system we've been inching towards over the past few decades. The president's caring a lot more about that. Fortunately, at that age range, there are lots of excellent people, and by all accounts, these would be excellent choices. I happen to know Neil Gorsuch fairly well. He clerked the same year that I clerked. He clerked for Justice Byron White, and I clerked for Justice O'Connor. And I think he is just an excellent choice. He's a very kind of scholarly judge, an excellent writer, very plain and thoughtful at the same time. I shouldn't say plain. He's not a plain writer. He's a clear writer, and his opinions come across as very thoughtful. He's always very careful to talk about the policies behind the law and the counter-arguments and why certain positions are being rejected. But I'm sure the other two, I just don't know them that well, but by all accounts, they're excellent too.
Are all three of these choices, are all they pro-life?
We don't know, right? You said I'll give you a little bit more information, and that's all I can offer is a little bit more. Part of the problem is that it's very hard to tell with any real confidence what a person's likely future opinions will be, partly because they don't run into a lot of cases in lower court on some of the hottest button issues. They run into a few, but not a lot. And there their hands are tied by precedent usually. What are they going to do when their hands are less tied by precedent, the Supreme Court? Very hard to tell. My guess is that there's enough information out there about them that the president will know. Although, of course, in some situations, as with Justice Souter, the president can be very much surprised. So we don't know with any great confidence, but we can suspect.
Yeah,
we can suspect that in that respect, the vote, this nominee's vote would end up being on the court the same as Justice Scalia's. That's the better guess on this issue.
Yeah, and it's interesting because on that issue, it seems fairly clear with respect to Pryor and Hardiman, and less clear with respect to Gorsuch, and he's received some criticism from within pro-life circles, including Phyllis Schlafly's son, for some of the decisions he's made. It's the kind of, as you're suggesting, kind of not exactly on point, but they're worrisome. And when you have a competition among people in this space that are all very talented, and you're looking for a record, it's kind of what Randy Barnett, the law professor at Georgetown, has said in terms of recommending a process through which a president should make a selection. Don't go with somebody unknown. Go with somebody known. Go with somebody who does actually have a record on a range of issues that are particularly important, so that you do kind of have a better idea of what you're getting and you don't get suitored, as it were.
I can certainly see why people might want to do that. The problem is there's only so much that one can know with any confidence about a person, unless they've been involved in, say, activism having to do with one another topic. I will say Neil Gorsuch wrote a book when he was a lawyer. He wrote actually a very scholarly and thoughtful book. I gave it a cover blurb, and it was a very honest praise in this respect, called The Future of Assisted Suicide in Euthanasia, where he, in his usual kind of sober, thoughtful style, criticized the movement to allow assisted suicide.
Interesting.
Of course, that's not exactly the same as abortion, but it does suggest that his kind of general outlook on such things would end up being similar to others, again, like Justice Scalia, who who might take a similar view, and maybe that carries over to abortion. And I don't know. I should say I'm not myself where a lot of the conservatives are on abortion issues. I'm not actually sure what the right answer is there. But my suspicion is that all three candidates would end up matching Justice Scalia's views on the subject. But again, it's just a suspicion. And people thought that about Justice Kennedy too, and for good reason. And it turned out that his position on abortion is closer to the center.
Well, right, and so these are the dynamics and the variables, which makes this all difficult, as you're suggesting. I didn't know that about Gorsuch, that book. That's very interesting, and you're right. It's
a superb book.
And it does speak to the larger issue of respect for the sanctity of life. Now, the interesting thing, so the one former elected official in this group is William Pryor. He was Alabama Attorney General, so he did have to take political positions, so you have a little bit more knowledge about him. And so it gets into all of this kind of quality stuff. So he's an elected official. Pryor was a statewide elected official. But then you've got Tom Hardiman, who's got this story that's very kind of consistent with, frankly, the Trump base vote of somebody who pulled themselves up, chose Notre Dame over Harvard, drove a cab to put himself through Georgetown Law School, comes from Pennsylvania. So there's these other dynamics that are not necessarily with respect to jurisprudence that certainly factor into this decision.
Yeah, although I will say I think that will be largely forgotten. Those personal life elements will be largely forgotten, I think, when people are evaluating both his quality and his ultimate decisions. I think that I like that story. My family was poor when we came to America. I had to grow up through that, and everyone likes that kind of story. But ultimately, I think the president should be looking to whether he approves of the jurisprudence of the candidate and the likely votes. I mean, that's the nature of the game. You might appreciate in the abstract the notion, well, you should appoint someone who's of high quality regardless of his positions. But given how much power the court has over such important issues, I don't think we can ever expect a president to do that. So I do think, from by all accounts, that Hardiman is also, though, an excellent judge, and I also think that his sitting on the same court as President Trump's sister, I think is relevant because I think that might make the president feel that he has this extra level of insight into what he will do. At the same time, both of the others, I think, are excellent, too. And again, I personally, just because of my personal knowledge, think extraordinarily highly of Gorsuch.
And just one more kind of, this is a little bit of inside baseball, but it's relevant. The idea of the Federalist Society and Leonard Leo apparently kind of being the veteran-in-chief of this process. What does that say about whoever the nominee is in terms of Leo and the Federalist Society's influence?
Well, I know the Federalist Society very well. I've been a member since 1987, so 30 years now. Since before I went to law school. I was 19 when I joined. And I've gotten to know Leonard Leo quite well as well, and I think very highly of him. It makes perfect sense that somebody like Trump, especially, he's not a lawyer. Nothing says the president needs to be a lawyer, and I think there's good reason for the president to not be a lawyer. But it makes sense that he would turn to people who have a proven track record for both scholarly excellence. And I think one thing you'll find even liberals at law school say, yeah, the Federalist Society is great at bringing in people to campus who have real interesting ideas and at grooming prospective professors and such, but at the same time a commitment to a particular set of ideas about judging and about law. I think it makes perfect sense that he would turn to them, just as it makes sense that a liberal president, if he didn't have personal kind of legal views or a close set of legal advisors that he wanted to turn to, would turn to a liberal group.
Right, yeah. Amy, I'll have you know, I restarted the Federalist Society chapter at Loyola University School of Law.
Such an honor to know you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it's an honor to have Eugene Volokh. The Volokh Conspiracy is the blog. UCLA law professor Eugene Volokh. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Very, very much my pleasure. All the best.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Plenty of clouds, no sun. That's for sure. A high of 31 degrees. A great weekend to get inside and go to Sox Fest because weather's going to be bad. We're going to have cloudy skies, a chance of a flurry both days on Saturday and Sunday, and highs around 30 degrees. Let's get those travel times and say hello to Jim Talamonte in our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning. Good idea. And there is Freedom Alive on the Edens right now. No delays at all to report, inbound or outbound. The inbound Kennedy is fine until you get to Montrose, and it's stop and go from there to the Hubbard Tunnel. 45 minutes, so O'Hare to downtown. 35 for Montrose. No savings in the Express. Outbound, it's just a 2-minute delay central to Harlem. The Eisenhower, 57 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, 44 from Manheim. Outbound 30 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 50 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 5 to 34. Bryan, 31 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive, southbound heavy Lawrence to North Avenue and 18th to the Stevenson. Fine northbound, tollways are mostly clear. I-80 westbound, stop and go Parker to 30 with crash in the left lane. Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. Stay warm this winter. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for winter storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson.
And we want to say thanks to each and every one of you who helped us to reach our goal of providing food for a year and water for life for 2,000 kids and counting in Haiti and Guatemala.
Your generosity means that these children will have a shot at living a happy and healthy life despite the enormous challenges they face.
And just because the Christmas season is over and we're starting a new year, that doesn't mean the need has gone away. You can still make a difference in the life of a child by making a $50 donation to Food for the Poor. Food for the Poor is one of America's largest and most trusted charities. Since 1982, they've been helping the poorest of the poor by directing resources directly to those in the greatest need.
Just call 855-880-3663. That's 855-880-FOOD, or go to 560theanswer.com, keyword food.
And thanks to the many business benefactors who supported this campaign, when you hear their ads on the radio station this year, we'd ask that you support their businesses as a way of thanking them for their generosity.
If you own or manage a company with recycling needs, your goal is to maximize profits while minimizing waste. Chicagoland is home to a leading recycling company stacked with experts in the latest technology and innovation to effectively manage a wide range of industrial waste, including paper, plastic, cardboard, pallets, as well as shredding and document destruction. For over 3 decades, eco and profit-conscious companies have depended on Combined Resources, Inc. for customized strategies and solutions based on company operational processes. Clients work directly with a Combined Resource partner to ensure first-rate customer care, commitment, and convenience. It's easy to find out how your company can benefit from their first-rate recycling services. Request a free audit by calling 630-916-1804 or visit combinedresources.us. Maximizing recycling profits and minimizing waste. That's 630-916-1804 or online at combinedresources.us.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
Amy, players will be reporting to camp in just a few weeks. It's almost time to start thinking about baseball. And you know where to find the G-Spot, don't you?
Oh, hey-o.
It's on the south side. It's Guaranteed Rate Park.
It is.
Yeah, the G-Spot. I don't know if they like me calling it that or not. I'm a White Sox season ticket holder, so I can say whatever I want.
Oh, okay. Because you're the customer, and the customer is always right.
That's right, except when they're not. And this weekend, we've got Sox Fest, and preview Sox Fest this weekend. We're pleased to be joined by our friend Scott Stephen, who is the president of Guaranteed Rate. Scott, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. you're a fan. So you definitely get a vote.
I don't know if that's an endorsement or not, but I appreciate the latitude you're giving me. So give us a little bit of preview of what we can expect at Sox Fest this weekend and for the White Sox in 2017.
Well, it's going to be great. Sox Fest itself, we kicked off Sox Fest early at the Lurie Children's Hospital, and we gave out about 1,000 blankets at Lurie and 4 other hospitals that were branded Guaranteed Rate and the White Sox to kids that are sick and fighting as disease. And so that's how we kicked it off. And then it kicks off today through Sunday. The players made a great connection, and our new manager with the kids at the hospital, and they'll take that all the way through the fans through the rest of the weekend.
And I'm looking at the lineup here of events. I mean, it's great. You've got Frank Thomas, Bo Jackson, some other people, that are coming. But you also have this, I find it very interesting, this kids press conference that's happening from 11 to 11:45. What's that about?
You know what? I'm not even aware of it. Maybe you know more than I do.
Yes.
It's a kids press conference? No.
Yeah, it's a press, just kids. No real media or fake media, whatever you want to call them. But just kids can ask questions to the players.
That sounds like
I think that's a greatest idea.
That sounds like something Bill Veeck would do. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's how the White Sox are looking at it. If you look at how well they did in the winter meetings, they're unequivocally the champions of the winter meetings. They picked up 7 great prospects. And I think I told Brooks Boyer, this is the beginning of a future championship. From the winter meetings to the blanket giveaway to the Sox Fest to this kids thing, I'm sorry I don't know about it. But
that's all right.
Great. And these players in this organization are really available to their fans, which I think you're going to see that from Sox Fest to spring training to the season.
Yeah, it's tough to lose Chris Sale, but I understand the need to rebuild and the prospects that you're talking about. I'll still go, even though Sale and Eaton will be gone.
Oh, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah. By the way, just in terms of the lineup, how many members of the 1919 Black Sox will be there? Because those guys still owe me some money. So just I don't know. So in terms of what Guaranteed Rate is going to present with the 2017 White Sox, are there going to be new amenities or designs or features of the park that we should look forward to?
Yeah, there are. Well, it starts off with, the Sox Fest. We'll have a booth there, and we'll be giving away some White Sox signed merchandise. So we're going to be a bat from Frazier and a Cabrera jersey and Garcia baseball and Robinson baseball and some other stuff. So we're going to have a raffle. You're going to see a lot that we're not going to unveil to opening day. Opening day is on April 3rd. Kickoff is 3:05 game against the Tigers. You're going to see a lot of things different in the park. Everything from our signage to, the arrow. We're going to have fun with that arrow.
Good.
The arrow and the brand is going to be the most beloved and fun in baseball.
Yes, because people were complaining that it's pointing down and they wanted them to change the arrow.
You never know where that arrow is going to sneak up on you.
That's not going to happen. The arrow is part of our brand.
Yes.
We're 16 years into building a brand, but there's no reason that we can't have a ton of fun with that arrow. And the arrow can be indicative of so many good things about baseball. Hit ball here, the kiss cam, all kinds of things of an arrow going, a ball going into the stands, the ERA going down. There's so many great things about a downward arrow. So that's just folks.
I got one more issue just quickly in terms of authenticity. Southpaw I saw throw with his right hand last year. If we're going to have a mascot named Southpaw, I want him to be a Southpaw.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, good. It's done.
All right, thanks, Scott. If you tickets are still available, Hilton Chicago, that's where Sox Fest takes place this weekend starting today, and go to whitesox.com.
It's a great American story. The company started with just 2 cars, operating out of a spare room in a house in the western suburbs. With hard work and making every customer important, 47 years later, A1 Airport Limousine is one of the largest transportation companies in America. Wouldn't you or your company like to do business with a company that shares your American values? Try A1 right now and say, "Give me 10." Get 10% off your first trip. Individuals, groups, airport runs, companies, any transportation need, small or large, A1 is the A1 choice. They're reliable, professional, and on time. Call now and say, give me 10. 10% off your first ride. 630-833-3788. 630-833-3788. Or book online and ask for the 10% discount at a1limousine.com. Give your business to a business that shares your values. A1 is the A1 transportation choice.
WIND Chicago News Time is 9 o'clock.